The whole sect is a dog licking, but the junior sister is a real dog. Chapter 1343. By then, Jiting will come when he smells the scent. Fang Shi smiled and said to the four people. Four grandfathers, you are here. Sect Master Sima and others. Feng Zhu, can you consider our feelings? We call you Feng Zhu, and you call them Grandpa. The four family heads were now completely confused and stared at Feng Shi in a daze. No one said a word. Feng Shi sat on the master leisurely, raised his hand and pressed down. Stop standing, sit down. Everyone then sat down again. Feng Shi smiled at the four family heads and said, I know you are a little confused now. It's okay, let King Hong explain it to you briefly, and you will understand. Four patriarchs, King Hong. Ah, yes, the patriarch Sima is called Sima King Hong. Sect leader Sima recounted the whole story immediately. However, due to time constraints, he could not go into too much detail and only mentioned the key points. The four family heads were shocked as if they were struck by lightning, and it took them a long time to recover. It's not that they don't want to fight back, it's just that what Sect leader Sima said was too much of a shock to them. Whether it was the Tiang Alliance, the Heir of Death or the Forbidden Realm, especially Feng Shi who had integrated the two domains and three clans by himself with sparks and lightning, it was all too unbelievable. When they finally digested all these things, they couldn't help but feel scared. Fortunately, they boarded Feng Shi's pirate ship early, otherwise, how could they have a good ending? Just look at the Changsheng sect and you will know. A third-generation ancestor suddenly appeared out of nowhere. How miserable. At least they can be grandfathers. But this time, Master Sima talked about Jiting again. Four of you, according to Feng Zhu's deduction, Jiting is very likely to infiltrate your four great families as a guest elder. This is also the main reason why I invited you here today. The four family heads thought to themselves, what bad luck, what bad luck. Jiting, why did you choose our four great families when you could go anywhere else? This is a hot potato. When they were feeling upset, Feng Shi said. Four grandfathers, Jiting is a spy sent by the Tiank League. His importance is self-evident. No matter which one of you catches him, it will be a huge contribution to the Juyu continent and will be recorded in history. Even if someone mentions this matter many years later, they will give a thumbs up and praise it as worthy of being the #1 family in the southern region. The four family heads were originally unwilling to let Jiting sneak into their families, as it would not only be troublesome but also risky. But after being encouraged by Feng Shi, the head of the Wang Fu family immediately said, Shaoxi, you said that our Wang Fu family suffered such a great change before, so it's normal for me to want to revenge my past shame and recruit soldiers, right? So I decided to post a notice to recruit talented people after I return, so the Jiting won't be embarrassed to come to my house. As soon as he finished speaking, the head of the Gang family said, you, the Wang Fu family, are recruiting soldiers and horses, and our Gang family cannot fall behind, so we must also recruit talents. In the secular world, people spend thousands of gold to buy horse bones, but I will pay a large sum to treat you as a guest. The head of the Wei family coughed twice and said, we, the Wei family, are going to build a talent recruitment hall to prevent Jiting from being homeless. Patriarch Meng rolled his eyes and said, all of your tricks are too blatant. I think it would be better if we create some minor frictions, and Jiting would come right after smelling the scent. As for which one he chooses, we'll just have to see who has better luck. Sect Master Sima and others. You were so positive. Feng Shi immediately praised the four of them, saying what a righteous cause for the human race, what the backbone of the 9 netherworld continent were, and praised the four family heads so much that they were totally overwhelmed. The key is Feng Shi's current status. But she is not just the Phoenix ancestor of the Changsheng sect. When the issues of the Tiank Alliance are resolved in the future, she will be the Lord of the 9 netherworlds. Anyone who is praised by the Lord of 9 netherworlds would be overjoyed. Feng Shi said again. In order to prevent people from suspecting your purpose of coming here, the Changsheng sect will make public the identities of the 2 guardian elders tomorrow morning, and will also hold Elder Yin's disciple-taking ceremony and my appointment as the head of Suzaku Peak. It would be reasonable to tell others that you were invited to the ceremony. The four family heads nodded in agreement. The head of the Wang Fu family seemed to be hesitant to speak. Feng Shi smiled and said, do you want to ask us how to deal with Master Han Feng? The head of the Wang Fu family nodded quickly. Feng's eyes smile faded slightly. At the meeting tomorrow, I will kill him in public. Although the Changsheng sect has ended its internal strife for now, it is still a loose group. In this situation, drastic measures must be taken to deter the group. In addition, she planned to let the third senior brother show his strengths. Isn't he willing to be the guardian of the sect's rules? Then let him find the disciples who violated the rules, and he must complete a certain number of targets every day. I will make sure he has a great time this time, and make him catch people's little braids even in his dreams. When interest becomes a task, see if he still enjoys it. The head of the Wang Fu family naturally didn't know what Feng Shi was thinking. He thought that Feng Shi was venting her anger on him, and immediately burst into tears. Shaoxi, you are worthy of being my most valued granddaughter. Grandpa knew that you would uphold justice for our Wang Fu family. Good girl. Everyone. You are so shameless. And you also love your granddaughter. Feng Zhu and you have nothing to do with each other, okay. No matter what, the head of the Wang Fu family was satisfied. As for Han Lianyi and Wang Fu Yao, it is easy to deal with. Now that the backer Han Feng has fallen, the Han family can no longer protect them. Don't talk about being cruel and ruthless. If you don't get rid of the roots of the grass, you are a fool. The next morning, Changsheng sect gathered all its disciples to the square. Sect leader Sima first read out the charges against leader Han Feng, and then beheaded him in front of everyone. All of Master Han Feng's direct descendants were killed or punished. Such drastic measures immediately made many people give up their little thoughts. Immediately afterwards, Sect Master Sima announced the identities of Elder Bai and Elder Yin as the sect's guardian elders. The scene immediately exploded. The disciples were all smiling and happy. After all, having 2 elders protecting the sect escorted is a great thing for the Changsheng sect. Shen Jilan's eyes lit up. She had no one to rely on in the sect except Elder Zhang, and even though she had presented the Yunsha sect sword formation diagram before, it did not improve her situation much. If she could gain the attention of these two elders, her status in the Changsheng sect would be extraordinary. By then, I'll be able to trample that bitch Feng Shi under my feet. The more she thought about it, the more excited she became. She even imagined how Feng Shi would be envious, jealous and hate her, and even kneel down to beg for mercy. At this time, Master Sima said, Elder Yin has been looking for suitable candidates for disciples. After some investigation, he chose Feng Shi, Zhenwen and Jingyan. I believe you still remember the Zhen swordsmanship that the three of them used before. It was actually the eternal life swordsmanship taught to them by Elder Yin, and it was also improved from our eternal life swordsmanship. After Elder Yin's persuasion, Feng Shi and the other two agreed to switch to the Changsheng sect and have nothing to do with the Xuanshan sect anymore. In addition, they also contacted Jiang Ji and the other two, and persuaded them to become disciples of Elder Yin. Everyone was furious again. It was even more shocking than the previously announced identities of the two elders who protected the sect. Oh my god, junior sister Feng Shi has actually become our biological junior sister. Am I dreaming? How could what the sect master said be false? A beautiful bird climbs high branches. Our Changsheng sect is much stronger than Xuanshan sect. It is normal for her to choose our Xuanshan sect. When I think about the fact that junior sister Feng Shi is one of ours, I feel reassured. Who said it wasn't? I think it's more secure than having two more elders protecting the sect. Ellipsis. The whole sect is a dog licking, but the junior sister is a real dog. Chapter 1344. Zhang Wen was angry and angry. Shen Jilan was so angry that she almost died. She felt that Elder Yin was blind. Why didn't he accept a genius like her but instead accepted the useless bitch Feng Shi? Today, Shen Jilan has to admit that Feng Shi is not the waste she thought she was. This realization made her hate Feng Shi even more, and when she heard the discussions of those disciples, she was so angry that her head was buzzing. Were both of them drugged by Feng Shi? Why on earth did the bitch deserve all their praise? But she soon thought of something. Wouldn't it be a betrayal of Xuanshan sect and the northern territory if Feng Shi became a disciple of Elder Yin? When she left Hunyuan sect and joined Changsheng sect, Feng Shi, that bitch, threw a lot of dirty water on her, and she ended up doing the same thing. She even brought her 5 senior brothers over. As soon as this news spreads today, both the Xuanshan sect and the other 3 major sects will definitely hate Feng Shi. She will become notorious throughout the entire northern territory. Thinking of this, Shen Jilan felt better. Besides, there is more than one elder protecting the sect. As long as she puts in some effort, she will definitely be able to get Elder Bai to accept her as a disciple. It's still unclear who will win by then. Just as she adjusted her mindset, she heard sect leader Sima say, Han Jide has been executed. Suzaku Peak cannot be without a leader. After discussion among the sect's top leaders, it was decided that Feng Shi would serve as the head of Suzaku Peak. Shen Jilan. She didn't even notice her nails digging into the flesh of her palms. Her heart was filled with resentment and unwillingness. At the beginning, she brought the inheritance of Yunsha sect to join Changsheng sect, but she was only given the status of an inner disciple. It was through her continuous efforts that she was promoted to a direct disciple. Feng Shi was a direct disciple when she first arrived, and now she is being made the head of Suzaku Peak. Why? Damn. These people deserve to die. She was furious, but the disciples of Suzaku Peak were going crazy with joy. What? Feng Shi is going to be our peak master. Isn't this pie in the sky? She was able to lead all the members of Wudao Peak to advance to the selection for Haoshan Holy Realm, which shows how awesome she is. The saying circulating in the northern territory that believing in Feng Shi will lead to eternal life is not just talk. As for being young, what's the matter? She is the disciple of the sect guardian elder, and her seniority is the same as that of sect master Sima. Another very important point is that Master Feng Feng is a fortune teller. Even if she has no money herself, she can still cheat others. They were all listless at first, but now they are all standing up. They were happy, but the disciples from the other 4 peaks, especially the Wudao Peak, were almost crying with anger. Junior sister Feng Shi obviously has the best relationship with our Wudao Peak, so why did she end up becoming the leader of Duke Peak? This is not fair. Sect Master Sima originally thought that announcing Feng Shi as the peak master would encounter some resistance and that some people would oppose it. After all, Feng Shi's identity as the Feng Zhu had not been made public. Unexpectedly, there were indeed people who opposed it, and what they opposed was why I was not given the title of the peak master of their peak. He couldn't help but sigh in his heart that Feng Zhu's personal charm was really strong. However, no matter how strong her personal charm is, there will definitely be constant criticism from the Northern Territory. The sacrifice made by Feng Zhu this time is extraordinary. After the meeting, the 4 family heads hurried back because they were busy, luring the chicken into the trap. Feng Shi went to Duke Peak. Jiang Ji and 5 others accompanied him. Elder Yin was worried and protected him in secret. In fact, there is no need for this. There are only a few elders left in Duke Peak who can fight, and Yu Yu's disciples are all on Feng Shi's side. Feng Shi delivered his inaugural speech as the peak leader. He first gave some warnings, then painted a rosy picture and pumped up the enthusiasm. After the atmosphere was aroused, he began to arrange various tasks. Although she was not familiar with the affairs of Suzaku Peak, she only needed to know how to use people. The remaining elders were either those who had been excluded before or those who were smart. In short, they could all be used for one's own purposes. In addition, Yu Yu and his companions were his own people, so Feng Shi sorted out the affairs of Suzaku Peak without much effort. Jiang Ji and others were also assigned tasks, especially Rong Zheng. Third senior brother, you have also seen that the Changsheng sect is now like a pile of loose sand, with no rules to speak of. I have already made an agreement with Sect Master Sima to appoint you as the chief law enforcement disciple of the Law Enforcement Hall. From today onwards, you can ask the Law Enforcement Hall to deal with anyone who violates the sect rules. The time is tight and the task is heavy. You have to complete the task of punishing at least 30 people every day. Of course, you cannot arbitrarily accuse them of crimes. You must have reasons and evidence. This is just my unilateral idea. If you don't want to do this, just give up. Before Feng Shi finished speaking, Rongzheng hurriedly said, Junior sister, I am willing. I have nothing to do anyway. Feng Shi nodded. Okay, but let me be frank. Although you are my senior brother, we should handle official business impartially. If you make a mistake or fail to complete the task, I will confiscate 100,000 Strit stones at once. Is that okay? Rongzheng calculated in his mind. There are tens of thousands of people in the Changsheng sect, and there are no rules. It is too easy to kill 30 people a day. So, he agreed. After Rongzheng left happily, Jiang Ji frowned and said, Little junior sister, aren't you afraid the third junior brother will cause trouble? Pei Zhou waved his fan and said, Big brother, didn't you hear what little sister said? After third Rong caught someone by surprise, he had to ask the law enforcement hall to deal with him. In other words, the law enforcement hall has the final say on how to deal with him. The charges he gave were reasonable, so the law enforcement hall would listen to him. If they were unreasonable, the law enforcement hall was not stupid, so they would naturally ask for instructions from above. Jiang Ji breathed a sigh of relief. That's good, the third brother should really change his temper. Zheng Wen curled his lips. He just has nothing to do. If he followed junior sister through life and death like me, he wouldn't have the leisure to do this. Pei Zhou patted his head with his fan. Stop showing off. Zheng Wen wanted to resist, but before Feng Shi joined the sect, he had been suppressed by Pei Zhou, so he had some psychological trauma. So, in a rage, I got angry for a while. It's done. At this time, Jing Yan said in a deep voice. Junior sister, the news will probably spread to the Northern Territory soon. You should be mentally prepared. Human hearts are the most complicated. Even though those people in the Northern Territory previously worshipped Feng Shi as the light of the Northern Territory, as long as the news of her switching allegiance to the Changsheng sect spreads, there will definitely be a lot of scolding, and the scolding will be very harsh. Feng Shi said calmly, fame and fortune are just external things. I don't care about them at all. Jiang Ji and the other three. Do you believe this yourself? Feng Shi chuckled. Even if I care, it's useless. Let them scold me however they want at this moment. I will find a way to clear my name in the future. The more they scold me now, the more they will love me in the future. Jiang Ji and the other three were relieved to see that she really didn't take it to heart, and then they heard Feng Shi say with a smile. For senior brothers, have you forgotten that you also have to accompany me in getting scolded? What you should worry about is the third senior brother who values the sect rules the most. I'm really worried that he will die to prove his integrity. Jiang Ji and the other three. There is no need to worry about this. The third brother has always been lenient with himself and strict with others. There is no such thing as dying to prove one's integrity. The whole sect is a dog licking, but the junior sister is a real dog. Chapter 1345 The Golden Pig Exploded. In the evening, Feng Shi returned to his residence after dealing with the matters at Suzaku Peak. Instead of going straight into the house, she turned a corner and went to the fish pond. The red carps quickly made a fish rainbow for her. Feng Shi smiled and said, Don't be so empty-headed. I'm a little short of money recently. Give me the Strid stones I saved during this period. Red smoke carp. What do you mean by the spiritual stones you have saved? That's all ours, okay. I knew that something bad would happen when you came back. However, he was angry but dared not say anything, and finally got a bunch of Strid stones for Feng Shi. When Feng Shi was about to release the golden pig to help her jump into the fish pond to fish out the Strid stones, the old skeleton sneaked out of the house. He can't see the light, so he has been hiding in Feng Shi for the past 2 days. Originally, Elder Yin wanted to take him to his cave, but the old skeleton firmly disagreed. He had been hiding in the dead land for so many years, and finally got out. Now he was asked to hide in a cave again. What are you thinking? The old skeleton had noticed the fish pond before, but thought those red smoke carp were just ordinary fish, so he didn't take it seriously. Now that he saw that these red smoke carp actually had intelligence, and it seemed that their intelligence was not low, he immediately became interested. He didn't even say hello to Feng Shi, but jumped directly into the fish pond to catch fish for fun. Feng Shi. These nirvanas are useless without brains, and each one is more unreliable than the other. At this moment, she even thought that it was a good thing that her Strid bones disappeared. Otherwise, what would she do if she lost her brain after practicing so hard? The red smoke carps are in bad luck. They never thought in their lives that they would be chased by a skeleton. They were chased by lightning before, and now they're chased by skeletons. Why are their lives so miserable? They were so annoyed that they simply slipped back into the underground river. Anyway, the pervert Feng Shi already knew it, so there was no need to hide it. A gleam of light flashed in the old skeleton's empty eyes. Is there something else going on in this fish pond? When he was about to study it carefully, Feng Shi released the golden pig and asked it to help fish out the Strid stones. The golden pig boss is not happy because it is his to do all the dirty and tiring work. But if you give it a beast core, it's not impossible. Unfortunately, Feng Shi didn't say anything at all. But the wooden sword was still beeping. Pig, you have to be grateful. Your master lets you work because he values you. It's been such a long time, and you haven't even cultivated a hair. If you don't help the master do some work, what's the point of keeping you? Don't be lazy, you pighead. Hurry up and do it. You can't compare to me. I am a sword. Nothing can replace me. You are different. Anyone can replace you. Ellipsis. The golden pig was so angry that his head was buzzing. He just wanted to fight with the wooden sword, so he thought about fishing out the Strid stone as soon as possible. It subconsciously began to inflate its body, and it grew bigger and bigger, even bigger than the fish pond. Then, he opened his big mouth and sucked. Even the Strid stone and the water in the fish pond was sucked into its stomach. Its original intention was to swallow it first, spit the water back into the fish pond, and then spit out the Strid stone to Feng Shi. As a result, the water was spit out, but the Strid stone was gone. It didn't disappear out of thin air, but was accidentally eaten by it. The golden pig was dumbfounded. It feels that it is quite wronged. You say, let a foodie face a table full of delicious food, who can resist? The wooden sword gloated and fanned the flames. Master, I can prove that it did it on purpose. It is not happy with the job you assigned to it, so it uses this behavior to express its dissatisfaction. The golden pig was so angry that he almost died. Mujian, shut up. Mujian, I'm telling you, I'm going to piss you off to death. The golden pig had shrunk in size, but after being irritated by it, it began to expand again, getting bigger and bigger. The old skeleton squatted on a rock and asked Fengshi, is it going to explode? Feng's eyes pupils shrank. Golden pig, stop now. I don't blame you, quick. The golden pig cried, I can't control myself anymore. I'm going to explode soon. Fengshi dragged the old skeleton into the fish pond. Qianli, quickly activate the teleportation array, quick. At the same time, she activated all the defensive spiritual weapons on her body and also activated a stack of defensive talismans. The red smoke carps have been observing the situation here. They really want to ignore it and just blow up the pervert to death. But what if the explosion doesn't kill him? They have no way to survive. So after hesitating for a moment, he still activated the teleportation array. Fengshi and the old skeleton were instantly teleported into the dark river. Almost as soon as their figures disappeared, a loud noise was heard in the yard. The golden pig actually exploded. It is made of spiritual power, and its explosion is as powerful as several explosive talismans. Fengshi's yard was blown beyond recognition and almost razed to the ground. Even the courtyards of Zhangwen and Jingyan on the left and right sides were affected. Fortunately, they were only affected and the damage was not as serious as Fengshi yard, but they were still scared. When they saw the miserable state of Fengshi's courtyard, Zhangwen immediately cried out, Junior sister. Fortunately, Fengshi soon appeared in the fish pond. This fish pond is quite solid. Maybe it was originally a pit, so it is not damaged much. Zhangwen and Jingyan were relieved to see that she was fine. Junior sister, what's going on? Fengshi saw many people running towards this side, so he winked at the two of them and said, I was just trying a new blasting spell and something went wrong. Zhangwen immediately said, Junior sister, you were too careless. Fortunately, you are okay, otherwise how would I live? As he spoke, his eyes turned red. Fengshi. Fifth brother's acting skills are getting better and better. At this time, many people rushed into the yard. To be precise, it was no longer called the yard. The gate, stone walls, and houses were all blown up. Jiangji and Peizhou looked anxious. The courtyard where they lived was quite far from Feng's eyes, so they rushed over. As for Rongzheng, he has been working day and night these days to catch other people's weaknesses and hasn't returned to Wadao Peak yet. After some concern, everyone felt relieved to see that Fengshi was fine. It was impossible to repair the house so late at night, so Zhang Wen gave his yard to Fengshi and went to Jingyan's place. When Fengshi was the only one left, he returned to the ruins and asked Qianli to teleport the old skeleton out. In fact, the old skeleton didn't want to come out at all. What fun it is in the water. It's much more fun than catching fish in a fish pond. The red carps actually wanted to transform into red dragons to deal with the old skeleton, but Fengshi's previous brainwashing was too successful, and they were worried that the red dragon would not transform into them again after taking control of the body. Isn't this equivalent to them? So despite being extremely annoyed, he still did not turn into a red dragon. When Fengshi returned to the house again, the golden pig flew out and knelt in front of Fengshi. Master, I was wrong. You were right, a pig cannot be too inflated. I will never swell up again. The whole sect is a dog licking, but the junior sister is a real dog. Chapter 1346 The wooden sword is disfigured. Jinju thought Fengshi would be furious. After all, it had caused a big trouble this time. Not only did he eat all the spiritual stones in the fish pond, but he also blew up the yard. If Fengshi and old skeleton hadn't run fast, they might have been injured. But Fengshi asked with concern, let's not talk about this for now. Are you not hurt? Golden Pig never dreamed that Fengshi's first words would not be a scolding but concern for it. It was so moved. Master, woo, I'm fine, you're so good to me. Fengshi said again, it's good that you're okay, stop kneeling, get up. Jinju was even more moved now, and fully understood what it meant to die for one's friend. At this time, Fengshi said with a sullen face, Mujian, get out. Wooden sword. I was just eating some watermelon, how can it have anything to do with me? However, it still flew out quickly, hovered in front of Fengshi, and asked in a mean way. Master, do you have something to ask me? Go to the corner and reflect on yourself. Mujian, okay. Although it doesn't think it has done anything wrong, it knows one thing, don't make noises when your owner is angry, otherwise it will definitely be guilty of a more serious crime. After Fengshi put away the wooden sword, he asked Jinju, tell me what happened just now. Seeing that Fengshi not only did not blame him but also gave him justice, Jinju could not hide anything and quickly said. Just now, Mujian was making me angry, so I thought about swallowing all the water and the spirit stone into my stomach, and then spitting it out. Who knew that the spirit stone was eaten directly by me? When I was feeling guilty, Mujian scolded me again. I got so angry that my body started to swell uncontrollably and I couldn't retract it even if I wanted to. I knew it was going to explode, but there was nothing I could do but stare at it. I think I was pissed off by the wooden sword. I was furious. The wooden sword in the corner snorted coldly. Come on, you are not a bull, how can you be so angry? I mad at you before, and you also swelled up, why didn't you explode? I think you are not angry with me, but because you swallowed a lot of spirit stones and your stomach exploded. Fengshi felt that Mujian, this bullshit made sense. The golden pig and the wooden sword are always quarreling with each other and slandering each other for no reason. There was nothing wrong with the golden pig before, but today he suddenly exploded. Most likely it has something to do with the spirit stones it swallowed. Although Jinju didn't want to admit it, after thinking about it, he felt that what Mujian said made sense. Could it really be exploded? The golden pig kept digging the ground with its 4 little hooves. It felt so embarrassed. As a glutton, it is normal for him to be unable to control his appetite, otherwise he would not eat himself. But if it explodes, it would be so embarrassing. It has completely disgraced the Tati clan's entire ancestors. If it can explode with just a few spirit stones, how can it become a big deal? It can be starved to death, killed, or killed by greed, but it will never die of overeating. It is simply a shame to the Tati clan. Mu Jian said in a sly voice, Master, if you want to know if what I said is right, it's very simple, just feed it some more spirit stones and see if it will explode. But it's just such a waste, especially on a pig. The golden pig rushed directly to the corner and bit the wooden sword. Mu Jian was not worried at all, because it was not the first time that the golden pig had bitten it, and even if it bit it was in vain, there was not even a tooth mark. But the next moment, it was dumbfounded. There was a tooth mark on the sword. The golden pig himself was also stunned. Is it so awesome? Fang Shi's heart moved. It was obvious that the golden pig's strength had improved. However, she also knew that it was definitely not just the credit of the pile of spirit stones, but that she had reached the critical point before and broke through just after swallowing those spirit stones. While she was thinking about this, the wooden sword started to go crazy. You damn pig, you actually disfigured me. I'm going to fight you. The wooden sword chased the golden pig madly, wishing it could chop it into minced meat. The golden pig felt somewhat guilty. Although they had fought each other in the past, there was no real harm. They were just fighting each other and neither of them hurt anyone. Unexpectedly, it succeeded this time and actually disfigured Mu Jian. The two were fighting, and for some reason the green Gile got crazy, but he also ran out and joined the battle. The old skeleton who was watching the fun on the side was so happy. Jumping and clapping. Have fun, have fun, have fun. Fang Shi. Tired, destroy it. Finally, Fang Shi roared, and the wooden sword, golden pig, and thunder stood in a row, with an old skeleton squatting at the back. Fang Shi kicked Mu Jian, and Mu Jian rolled over on the ground 18 times, screaming in pain. Master, you have such strong skills. Fang Shi, stop talking nonsense. It doesn't matter if you act mean at ordinary times, but don't cause trouble for me at the critical moment. Mu Jian said aggrievedly, I didn't know a pig's head could explode. Besides, I'm disfigured. Fang Shi took a look at it and said, your disfigurement is equivalent to plastic surgery. Wooden sword. After packing up the wooden sword, Fang Shi said to the golden pig. Mu Jian is a bad mouth, you are the one who is irritated. If you really bite it to pieces, will you keep it for the rest of its life? Instead of fighting with it, you might as well figure out why it was blown up by spiritual energy. I don't think this is a bad thing. If you can control yourself, you will be my trump card when we meet a strong enemy in the future, and I will naturally not treat you unfairly. The golden pig's eyes lit up. Yup. Its explosive power is so great and it comes unexpectedly. If it can be used well, wouldn't it be as easy to accomplish a feat as eating and drinking? Fang Shi fixed his gaze on the thunderbolt. The more he looked at it, the more it looked like a green cabbage. Why are you making trouble? Are you getting nervous? Gile twisted his body into an S shape. What bad intentions could he have? He just wanted to join in the fun. Fang Shi snorted coldly. I think you have forgotten the pain after the wound healed. The main body has been occupied by Wuyunjiu. Instead of fusing the cloud core and avenging your previous shame, you are meddling here. Be careful that Wuyunjiu will snatch this cloud core away too. Gile was suddenly at a loss. Yes, it still has to seek revenge on Wuyunjiu. It needs practice. Practice diligently and hard. Then, she quickly slipped back into the Xiangyun hairpin. The old skeleton thought Fang Shi was going to teach him a lesson next, but Fang Shi helped him up with both hands. Senior, you're a hero of the 9 Nether Continent. Not to mention that I just played with them for a while, even if you turned the Changsheng sect upside down, I have no right to preach in front of you. As long as you are happy, you can do whatever you want, I promise I won't interfere. The old skeleton shuddered. Why is it so creepy? You might as well scold me. The whole sect is a dog licking, but the junior sister is a real dog. Chapter 1347 The rules of the miscellaneous affairs hall are sold out. The old skeleton laughed dryly twice, ran to the side and began to sit cross-legged in meditation. The house was in chaos just now, but now it is peaceful and quiet. Fang Shi rested for a while and prepared to start practicing, but which technique should he practice? Although it is said that having many skills is always a blessing, having too many skills is not a good thing either. She has learned too many different things. Let's rule out the Nirvana Sutra first. She doesn't want to lose her brain due to cultivation. The key point is that this thing is weird. I practiced it for more than 2 months, but it was all reset to 0 as soon as it came out. But this time, the voice of Zhu Shihuan sounded in his consciousness. Do you know why I only practice demonic techniques? Is it because I can't learn other skills? Of course not. Because I know that you can't chew too much if you bite off more than you can chew, unlike some people who want to learn everything they see, but end up with only a half-full bottle. Fang Shi. There's no need to be so insinuating, just tell me my name directly. Grandpa, I don't want to do this either, I have no choice. You said that I traveled to the Kuchan sect, but I have no choice but to learn the Buddhist practice methods. The same goes for the Wangu Xianzong. If I can avoid learning, there's no need for me to drill holes in my bones. Grandpa, why don't you think about combining all the skills I know and come up with a new one? Zhu Shihuan snorted coldly. It's easy for you to say that. This is not porridge. You can't throw anything into the pot and it will all cook together. Fang Shi rolled his eyes and said, if alchemy can fuse herbs together, then the technique must be able to do the same. Grandpa, you don't have the ability to do this, do you? Zhu Xuan cursed. You little brat, you want to provoke me again. It's useless to tell you, because no one can accomplish the task of fusing the skills. Although Zhu Xuan spoke in a decisive tone, Fang Shi still did not give up. If she could combine spiritual practice, Buddhist practice, Nirvana practice, and even the skills of the gluttons and demons together, she would definitely become the happiest little girl in the world. Zhu Xuan saw that she was thinking about something nonsense and didn't bother to pay attention to her. He waited until she banged her head against the wall and gave up. Fang Shi pondered until midnight but still couldn't figure out the problem. He felt that if he just went to sleep like that, it would be a bit unfair to his image of being diligent and hardworking. So, he took out the wash basin and rolling pin and started practicing the Sanskrit sound technique. It must be said that the hypnotic effect of the Sanskrit sound technique is quite good. She soon yawned, washed up quickly and went to bed. The next morning, people from the Miscellaneous Affairs Hall came to help Fang Shi repair the yard. To say that it is repair is actually the same as rebuilding. The Miscellaneous Affairs Hall was very efficient and completed the construction before dark, and also renovated the 2 neighboring courtyards. Fang Shi did not let these people go away empty-handed and gave them some pills. Although it seemed like just a small matter to Fang Shi, these people spread the word after they returned, and Fang Shi's good reputation reached a new height. At night, Fang Shi held his chin and continued to think about the combination of martial arts. Zhu Xuan thought that she was wasting her time and had to pour cold water on her. Fang Shi didn't care. Sharpening the knife would not delay the chopping of wood, and these few days would not matter. The next day, Fang Shi first went to Suzaku Peak to inspect the work, then had a chat with Huai Mingzhen and his disciples, and then went to see Sect Master Sima to ask about the mining of the Taixuan Soul Stone. She had discovered the Taixuan Soul Stone mine in the underground sword pavilion before. This thing can be used to make puppets. Those old ghosts in the Forbidden Realm are still waiting. It was already afternoon when we finished this busy schedule. As soon as she returned to the yard, someone came to the door. It was the head of the Changsheng Sect's Law Enforcement Hall, Zhao. Master Zhao seemed to have some concerns and talked about this and that for a long time without getting to the point. Fang Shi was happy. Master Zhao, are you here because of my third senior brother Rong Zheng? Hall Master Zhao heaved a sigh of relief. Master Feng Feng, I am indeed here because of Rong Zheng. How should I put it? Our law enforcement hall has never been so busy since its establishment. You may not know that Rong Zheng gave us more than 200 cases in one day. We can't handle them all. We can't handle them all at all. What Hall Master Zhao said was not an exaggeration at all. Ever since Rong Zheng became the chief disciple of the law enforcement hall, he has been like a chicken with its blood pumped up. He starts catching people the moment he opens his eyes. With his familiarity with the Changsheng Sect's rules, he can catch them all accurately. He found it so addictive. Changsheng Sect is indeed a good place. He was happy, because everyone in the law enforcement hall was so busy. Master Zhao can hardly even clatter his gavel. It's impossible to finish the review. It's impossible to finish the review. If Rong Zheng didn't have Fang Zai's support, Master Zhao really wanted to shut his mouth. After listening to Master Zhao's complaints, Fang Shi apologized. Master Zhao, my third senior brother is ignorant of the ways of the world and is too eager to prove his worth, causing trouble for you in the law enforcement hall. However, there are always two sides to every coin. After his actions, the people in the sect will definitely pay more attention to the sect rules than before. Master Zhao thought to himself, it's not just a matter of concern, it's almost like they're afraid of everything. Let me put it this way, all the rules of the Zashitang are sold out. Although disciples are given a copy of the sect's rules when they join, some have long lost them and can only buy another copy from the Miscellaneous Affairs Hall. Fang Shi continued. Of course, this also adds a lot of tasks to your law enforcement hall. I have a solution. Zhao Tangzhu's eyes lit up. What method? My third senior brother is also a disciple of our Changsheng sect. If he violates the sect rules, he will naturally be punished. Although he acts cautiously, it is not difficult to find fault with him as long as one is willing. Master Zhao, are you right? Master Zhao's eyes lit up. Understood. Treat others in their own way. No matter how disciplined you are, Rong Zheng, there are times when you are negligent. Especially since you have offended so many people and there are countless pairs of eyes staring at you every day, I don't believe that they can't find any faults with you. Master Zhao thanked Fang Shi and left happily. Master Fang Fang is a really good person, he would sacrifice his own family for the sake of justice. Only one day later, Zheng Wen came to find Fang Shi in a hurry. Junior sister, Rong Lao San was arrested by the law enforcement hall. I heard it was because he stepped into the law enforcement hall with his left foot first. Fang Shi. Master Zhao was really anxious. Later I found out that this was not the reason, but that there was a stain on Rong Zheng's sect uniform, well, a stain the size of a grain of rice. Someone in the law enforcement hall discovered a line in the sect's rules: disciples should keep their sect uniforms neat and clean. In fact, it is written like this: under normal circumstances, who would care whether the sect server is clean or not? Do I have to use some cleaning techniques whenever I kill monsters? But no matter what, there is indeed such a rule in the sect rules, and no matter how Rong Zheng defends himself, he has violated the sect rules. Originally, this crime only required a fine, but Master Zhao charged him with contempt of court, resulting in 3 days of imprisonment and a fine of 10,000 spirit stones. After hearing the punishment, there was a cheer outside the law enforcement hall, and everyone called Hall Master Zhao, Zhao Qingshan. Fang Shi said to Zheng Wen, "Fifth senior brother, when third senior brother is released from prison, remember to ask him for the fine for not completing the tasks in the past few days. 100,000 spirit stones a day." The whole sect is a dog licking, but the junior sister is a real dog. Chapter 1348, this is the first time that Sima Zongzhu feels that it is so difficult to discredit her. Zheng Wen couldn't help but gloat over his misfortune. Rong Laosan, oh Rong Laosan, your good days are about to begin. Even if you are a master of the sect rules, you still have to admit defeat in front of your junior sister. At this time, upon hearing the news that Rong Zheng had been arrested, Jiang Ji also hurried over. Junior sister, I heard that third junior brother was arrested. What did he do wrong? After all, he had just joined the Changsheng sect and did not have as many connections as Zheng Wen, so he did not know the specific situation. Without waiting for Fang Shi to speak, Zheng Wen told the story with a gloating look on his face. Jiang Ji finally breathed a sigh of relief. As long as he didn't commit any serious mistake, he would be locked up for 3 days. It would be a good opportunity for him to learn his lesson. Pei Zhou and Jing Yan, who arrived later, had the same idea. It's just like detaining someone for 3 days, not 3 years, so just detain them. Fang Shi couldn't help but sigh. People's hearts have changed, and the friendship between fellow disciples is as cheap as grass. Jiang Ji and the other 3. How dare you, a digger, say such things. 3 days later, Rongzheng had just regained his freedom when he was greeted by Zhang Wen, who came to collect the debt. Third brother, junior sister asked me to collect the fine for her. You were imprisoned for 3 days. In addition, you did not complete the task on the day of your imprisonment, so the total was 4 days. 100,000 a day, a total of 400,000 straight stones. Pay up. Rongzheng had already suffered some setbacks after his mishap, and now he was hit hard on the head. He was about to make some excuses when Zhang Wen took out the military order that Fang Shi had asked him to sign. Rongzheng shut up. He gritted his teeth and gave Zhang Wen 400,000 straight stones. He and Fang Shi had known each other for the shortest time, and before he could get any benefit from Fang Shi ran off to the southern region. So among the 5 brothers, he is the poorest. The fine of 400,000 yuan made their already poor life even worse. Zhang Wen kindly reminded him. Third brother, don't waste time here. Go and find the person's weakness. Otherwise, you probably won't be able to complete today's mission and you will have to pay a fine of 100,000. Rongzheng glared at Zhang Wen fiercely and hurried to catch him. His steps were a little heavy. He used to be excited every time he went to catch someone, but now he didn't know why he felt a little resistant. He felt that it would be better to practice hard than to catch people. The key is that he still has to be wary of others catching him in the act. The feeling of being stared at and criticized all the time is really terrible. Zhang Wen came happily to deliver spread stones to Fang Shi, and Jiang Ji and the other 2 were also there. Junior sister, you didn't see how unlucky Rong Lao-san was. It was so funny. I didn't expect that this day would come to this. I wonder how long he can last. Fang Shi smiled and said, it depends on how many straight stones he has left. Jiang Ji and others silently lit a candle for Rongzheng. The Sect rules have met their nemesis. At this time, Pei Zhou waved his fan and said, the news that we have defected to the Changsheng Sect should have spread throughout the Northern Territory. Needless to say, there will be a lot of criticism. It's a pity for my good reputation. Those sisters and brothers who admire me must be heartbroken. Zhang Wen also sighed. My reputation as a gentleman with a sword known all over the world has been ruined. Maybe our master will also be implicated and scolded for his poor teaching methods. Fang Shi frowned when he heard this. She had only considered her and Jiang Ji's reputation before, but forgot to consider her master Xiao Beidao. Although her master doesn't care about his reputation as long as he has money, it's still not good. Forget it, I'll compensate him with 100 million strode stones some other day. Although the money was not much, it was still a small thought from her. Zhu Chuan was almost angry to death. 100 million is not too much. Xiao Beidao saved your whole family in your previous life, right? No, he saved all your ancestors, right? At this time, in the study of Sect Leader Sima was listening to Elder Huai's report. The main content of the report was about the public opinions from all sides regarding the fact that Fang Shi and the other 6 people had defected to the Changsheng Sect. Sect Master, after the news that Fang Zhu and his men defected to our Changsheng Sect spread, Xuanshan Sect Master Xiao Beidao immediately announced that he would expel the 6 evil disciples from Xuanshan Sect, and threatened to fight to the death with our Changsheng Sect. The 3 leaders of Hunyuan Sect, Yushu Sect, and Wanjian Sect are united in their hatred of the enemy and have expressed that they will fight our Changsheng Sect sooner or later. Sect Leader Sima had anticipated this, so he was not surprised. Then I saw Elder Huai's expression was somewhat complicated and he said, Master, although the 4 major sects reacted strongly, the reactions of the people other than them were somewhat special. Sect Leader Sima raised his eyebrows. Oh, tell me about it. Elder Huai cleared his throat. Most people in the Northern Territory believe that Fang Zhu came to our Changsheng Sect as an undercover agent. Sect Leader Sima, keep talking. They think that it won't take long for Fang Zhu to become the leader of the Changsheng Sect. By then, our southern region will have to be incorporated into the northern region and become their vassal. They praised Fang Zhu for enduring humiliation and bearing hardships for the Northern Territory, saying that he was worthy of being the light of the Northern Territory. Many people even started gambling games, betting on how long it would take Fang Zhu to take down our Changsheng Sect. Well, the maximum time limit is 3 years. Sect Leader Sima. Let's not talk about how blindly these people worship and trust Fang Shi. The key point is that our Changsheng Sect is so fragile. She can take it down in 3 years. But he immediately fell silent. Not only did she take it down, she also took down all 18 generations of her ancestors. He directly became the 3rd generation ancestor. He seemed to understand the people of the Northern Territory a little. After a long silence, he asked Elder Huai, what about the Yan clan and the Demon clan? Most of the demons don't know the Phoenix ancestor is Zhu Wuyu, so their reactions are quite normal. Some demons gloated over the misfortune of the Northern Territory humans, while others clamored to attack our Southern Territory together with the Northern Territory humans. On the Yan clan side, although Emperor Yan expressed his full support for Xuanshan Sect, the people did not buy it. They felt that there was no need to intervene in the matter. It was Fang Zhu's freedom to join any sect, as long as she was happy. Sect Leader Sima. Is Fang Zhu's personality so strong? However, considering that Fang Shi helped the Yan tribe rebuild the demon temple, it is understandable why the Yan people love Fang Shi. If the demons knew that Fang Shi was Zhu Wuyu, and that she was also the island master of Lang Yinyuan and the adopted daughter of the demon emperor. This was the first time that Sect Leader Sima felt how difficult it was to discredit someone. He calmed himself down and said, what about us in the southern region? Elder Huai's expression became more complicated. He paused for a moment before saying, the people of the southern region are overjoyed that Fang Zhu has joined our Changsheng Sect. They're telling each other the news, and the gongs and drums are beating, celebrating together. Sect Leader Sima. How long has she been in the southern region? She hasn't made any contribution to the southern region. Why is the prestige so high? I don't understand. I really don't understand. The whole sect is a dog licking, but the junior sister is a real dog. Chapter 1349 Blame me, it's all my fault. Elder Huai explained to sect leader Sima. Master, those people are mainly trying to play a counter-operation with the human race in the Northern Territory. The people in the Northern Territory think that Feng Zhu is here as an undercover agent, while the people in the Southern Territory are arguing that Feng Zhu is someone who wants to move up and really wants to join the Southern Territory. In addition, it is also out of admiration for the strong. Not to mention what Feng Zhu did in the Northern region before. Since she came to the Southern region, she first became the granddaughter of the patriarchs of the four great families, and now she has become the direct disciple of the elder who protects the sect of our Changsheng sect, and also the master of Suzaku Peak. Naturally, she has become the object of worship for many people. Sect Master Sima didn't know what to say for a moment. After a long silence, he said to Elder Huai, "Go tell Feng Zhu the news so she can have some idea of it." Elder Huai nodded in agreement and then came to see Feng Shi. Feng Shi, Jiangji and others were barbecuing in the yard, laughing and chatting happily. Elder Huai took a quick look. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1 was missing. By the way, it seems that Rongzheng has been locked up and he probably hasn't come out yet. Elder Huai had no opinion on Rongzheng, because Rongzheng brought income to the Changsheng sect. I heard that the disciples in the miscellaneous affairs hall who are responsible for engraving the sect rules are so tired that they have to do splits. Seeing Elder Huai coming, Feng Shi smiled and invited him to eat together. Elder Huai did not refuse. After all, he had come here many times before to eat and drink for free. After eating half a plate of barbecue, he finally told her the purpose of his visit. After listening to this, Feng Shi frowned. I originally wanted to show Jiting how our Juyu continent is a mess, but now the result is not ideal. If I had known this, I should have done some stupid things on a daily basis so that my reputation wouldn't be so high. Ugh. Blame me, blame me, blame me. Elder Huai. I don't know how to react except silence. Zhang Wen and the others were quite happy. Since the junior sister was not scolded, they would naturally not be scolded either. Only Jiangji was worried and asked, "Junior sister, this is somewhat contrary to your previous plan. What should we do next?" Feng Shi didn't care much and said, "It's okay. Jiting has just arrived and is not very familiar with the situation in our Juyu continent. He is more concerned about the reactions of the major forces. In addition, he is most likely projected to the Southern Territory and will not pay attention to the public opinion of the people in the Northern Territory. If he really chooses to join the four great families, then it will be easier to deal with. Aren't we the ones who decide what he should hear?" Now not only Jiangji, but Elder Huai also breathed a sigh of relief. Feng Shi added, "To be on the safe side, I will send a message to Master and ask them to send more people in the near future to make some big noise at the border between the North and South regions. Come to think of it, Jiting must be very touched to know that we have made such preparations for him. Shouldn't he express his gratitude to us?" Elder Huai and his companions. "Are you planning to fleece the Tiank League spies?" When they were speechless, Feng Shi sighed. "I didn't expect that there are still a small number of people in the Northern Territory who scold me. It seems that I am not perfect enough. I have to work harder in the future." She was met with silence. Even Zhang Wen, the supporting actor, didn't want to talk anymore. So annoying. Others might feel embarrassed at this moment, but Feng Shi doesn't exist here at all. If others don't give her a step, she will give herself a ladder. Logically speaking, after so many days, Jiting should have arrived a long time ago. Why is there no movement from the four great families? Did I miscalculate? Elder Huai said immediately, he must have made some preparations before he was projected down, so as not to reveal his true colors. I estimate that there should be news in a few days. Not only Feng Shi was anxious, but the heads of the four major families were also anxious. Everything is ready, just waiting for the chicks. Why haven't you come yet? It must be that they're not strong enough in recruiting talented people, they need to work harder. The person who was most willing to spend money was none other than the head of the Wang Fu family. He did not hesitate to expose his own family scandal and hired hundreds of storytellers to publicize the fact that his son was cheated on. He felt that once Jiting heard this, he would definitely choose their Wang Fu family first. After all, their Wang Fu family had a grudge against the Changsheng sect. As for fame, it is external thing and not worth mentioning. Once he catches that little brat Jiting, the good reputation will come naturally. Could it be that this little chicken Jiting died during the teleportation process? Jiting is fine, he's just a little unlucky. The Duzhun Xinghe mirror could only select an approximate range. Although the location where he was projected was indeed the southern region, it was very remote. It took him several days to get to Panchang where the Wang Fu family was located. As a new arrival, he had not yet made contact with the spies of the Tiank League and had limited information, so he wanted to observe first and then decide which family to go to. As soon as he entered Iwaki, he saw recruitment notices posted in every street corner, which roughly meant that the Wang Fu family was in urgent need of talents, and if one had a high level of cultivation, he could even be hired as a guest elder. Jiting couldn't help but feel secretly happy in his heart. It really is what he wished for. However, he was not a reckless person and did not make a decision immediately. Instead, he turned and went into a tavern, which was the best place to get information from all sides. There happened to be a storyteller in the tavern, and he was telling the story of the Wang Fu family. Everyone, I believe you all know that Changsheng sect's master Han Feng was killed 2 days ago, right? The Wang Fu family finally got rid of their anger. This matter has to start from a few years ago, when Wang Fu Qingchuan, the eldest son of the Wang Fu family, fell in love with the daughter of a small sect leader, whose name was Yi Qingqing. Jiting listened with great interest. Although his spies would report information to the Tiank League regularly, he really didn't know about these things. As he listened, he discovered a problem. The left protector said that the information provided to them by their spy was from half a year ago. When he compared it, it seemed that it was more than half a year ago. However, he didn't take it seriously. Whether it was half a year, or even 3 to 5 years, it wouldn't have much impact. What he cared more about was the scandal of the Wang Fu family. Although Master Han Feng was dead, how could the Wang Fu family have no complaints about the Changsheng sect after suffering such a great humiliation? I just dare not speak out but be angry. His chance has come. It seems that there is no need to examine the other 3 families, just the Wang Fu family. Although his cultivation would be greatly suppressed after the projection of his soul, he now had the 8th level of the spirit transformation realm. He decided to hide part of his cultivation so as not to arouse the fear of the head of the Wang Fu family. Since the head of the Wang Fu family is at the peak of the 6th level of the spirit transformation realm, he can just pretend to be in the middle stage of the 6th level of the spirit transformation realm. After entering the Wang Fu family, it would be best if the head of the Wang Fu family was easy to manipulate. If he was disobedient, he also had the means to make him submit. By then, we will find a way to conquer the other 3 families. Not to mention opening one soul channel, even 2 will not be a problem. The left protector also warned him not to underestimate the enemy, which was totally unnecessary. These ants in the Juyu continent not only have low cultivation, but also have poor brains. If they were really that smart, they wouldn't have been torn apart under the guidance. So, with extremely inflated confidence, he walked towards the Wang Fu family. The whole sect is a dog licking, but the junior sister is a real dog. Chapter 1350, opening the soul channel is just around the corner. Ji Ting went straight to the door of Wang Fu's house. The great elder Wang Fu Wenlian, who was in charge of recruiting talents, was yawning. Quite a few people came to apply in the past few days, but they were all nascent soul cultivators. Wang Fu Wenlian didn't think highly of him at all. If one wanted to marry into the Wang Fu family, one had to at least be a divine transformation cultivator. Suddenly, he saw Ji Ting. Ji Ting did not change his appearance, it remained his original appearance. He has a kind of immortal-like demeanor, and looks like a hermit from other worlds. Wang Fu Wenlian was shocked when he saw that he could not see through the other party's cultivation level, and he stood up. Comrade, do you want to join our Wang Fu family? Ji Ting nodded coldly. I don't want to talk to you, I want to see your family master. Although Wang Fu Wenlian was somewhat dissatisfied, he still said politely, the strong are respected. Please wait a moment, my dear guest. I will report to our master. By the way, what is your name, distinguished guest? Ji Ting frowned. Ji Ting. To be honest, he was really arrogant. He thought that people in Juyu continent knew nothing about the Tiank League, let alone his name. So, there is no need for him to change his name. Besides this, he also had a selfish motive. He wanted to become famous. He wants to make the name Ji Ting a nightmare for the ants in Juyu continent. Wang Fu Wenlian did not know about the Tiank alliance, and naturally did not know about Ji Ting. He immediately sent a message to the head of the Wang Fu family and told him everything. The head of the Wang Fu family was originally sitting, but he jumped up when he heard the news. Ji Ting. Ji Ting. He actually came. And he didn't even change his name. It's really crazy. He did not reply to the great elder immediately, but hurriedly sent a message to Feng Shi. Feng Shi also didn't expect that Ji Ting didn't even change his name. This shows how arrogant he is and how much he looks down on the Juyu continent. Very good, she likes this kind of timely rain. She immediately explained the matter to the head of the Wang Fu family, who immediately agreed. He sent a message to Wang Fu Wenlian, please ask him to come to my study. Wang Fu Wenlian immediately said to Ji Ting, dare you, our master invites you to the study for a chat. Ji Ting nodded, lead the way. Soon, the two arrived at the study of the head of the Wang Fu family. The head of the Wang Fu family looked at Ji Ting and thought, there really is no such thing as a soul ring. It must be Xiaoxi's foresight, otherwise who would have thought that this was a person projected from the soul of Tiank continent. He looked at Ji Ting with warm eyes. How could this be just a little chicken? This was a timely help for their Wang Fu family to become the #1 family in the southern region. Friend Ji, please take a seat. Seeing this, Ji Ting thought to himself that this Wang Fu family head showed his emotions openly and didn't seem to be a very cunning person. Yes, if he really had strategy, he would not have forced his son to marry a vicious woman, causing the entire Wang Fu family to become a laughing stock. The head of the Wang Fu family said to Wang Fu Wenlian, Grand Elder, go and arrange accommodation for fellow Das Ji. Follow the highest standards. Wang Fu Wenlian nodded and went out. After he left, the head of the Wang Fu family personally poured a cup of tea for Ji Ting. Fellow Das Ji, forgive my intrusion, but are you here to join our Wang Fu family? Although Ji Ting looked down on the head of the Wang Fu family in his heart, he was still polite on the surface. To be honest with Patriarch Wang Fu, although my cultivation is decent, I am only a casual cultivator after all. It is extremely difficult to make further progress, so I want to rely on some big forces. I had considered the Changsheng sect before, but I didn't like their style. After much thought, I felt that the Wang Fu family was more suitable for me. I wonder if Patriarch Wang Fu welcomes you. The head of the Wang Fu family laughed loudly. Friend Ji, I can't even invite a talent like you, so I naturally welcome you. Being a guest elder is too much of a waste of your talent. How about you just serve as the guardian elder of our Wang Fu family? Ji Ting said a few humble words and agreed. When the head of the Wang Fu family saw that he agreed, his mouth was grinning from ear to ear. His joy was beyond words. Elder Ji, you are the first guardian elder of our Wang Fu family. We must hold a grand celebration. Not only do I have to notify the other 3 families, I also have to send invitations to the Changsheng sect. I'll have someone calculate the date and choose an auspicious day in a moment. Ha ha ha. Auspicious days are suitable for catching chicks. Ji Ting had no doubt about the actions of the head of the Wang Fu family, because he felt that the Wang Fu family had been involved in a scandal before, and naturally wanted to restore some face at this time, so he did this. Well, he could take this opportunity to meet with people from Changsheng sect and the other 3 major families, which would facilitate his next move. The two chatted for a few more words, and the head of the Wang Fu family sighed and said, Elder Ji, to be honest, today is the happiest day of my life. I can't tell you, but I'm not afraid of you laughing at me. It's a misfortune for my family. The head of the Wang Fu family told the story of his own son having the banana green grassland on his head. After listening to this, Jiting gave some hypocritical comfort. The head of the Wang Fu family was quite moved, and even his eyes became red. Elder Ji, although we have known each other for a short time, we feel like old friends from the moment we met. There are some things I cannot tell others, so I can only tell you. Although the man surnamed Han is already dead, this matter is closely related to the Changsheng sect. Sooner or later, I will seek justice. And Fang Shi, who took over as the leader of Suzaku Peak, I will kill her sooner or later. Jiting had listened to a story in a restaurant before, and the storyteller also mentioned Fang Shi, but only in passing. Therefore, Jiting asked curiously, Master, I heard that Fang Shi is your adopted granddaughter, and she played a big role in discovering Han Zhai's conspiracy. Where did you get this from? The head of the Wang Fu family sneered and said, do you think I am willing to accept a yellow-haired girl from the Northern Territory as my granddaughter? Didn't she trick Yansa and force me to accept her? As for her helping to expose the Han man, she was just stepping on the reputation of our Wang Fu family to gain power. Otherwise, how could she be worthy of worshipping the guardian elder of the Changsheng sect as her master? Not to mention taking over as the master of Suzaku Peak. That little bitch's cultivation isn't that great, but she has a lot of bad intentions. Of course, the Changsheng sect also contributed to this, as they wanted to take action against our 4 great families. What a pity that the other 3 companies are all idiots. They don't realize this at all and keep causing trouble for each other. They're so hopelessly stupid. Jiting's eyes flickered, and he said immediately, Master, your analysis is correct. Unless the 4 great families form an alliance, they will be swallowed up by the Changsheng sect sooner or later. Why don't you take advantage of this grand ceremony to have a good talk with the other 3 family heads? The head of the Wang Fu family nodded. I was thinking the same thing, you will come with me then. Jiting nodded and said yes, his heart was filled with joy. You really get what you want. This time, the projection of the soul went smoothly except that the landing location was not satisfactory. Opening the soul channel is just around the corner. Next chapter around 8 o'clock. The whole sect is a dog licking, but the junior sister is a real dog. Chapter 1351 objection is invalid. The 2 chatted for a few more sentences, and the head of the Wang Fu family personally accompanied Jiting to his residence and suggested holding a banquet in the evening to welcome him. Jiting declined politely, Master, I'm a little tired after running around these days, so why don't we just forget it and have a drink some other day? Seeing this, the head of the Wang Fu family did not insist. He told him to have a good rest and arranged for servants to serve him before returning to his own courtyard. When he arrived at the study, he hurriedly called Fang Shi and told him what had happened. Fang Shi received the message and pondered for a moment before replying. Grandpa, sometimes things going too smoothly can arouse suspicion. He may not have reacted well today because he just arrived. Once he figures out what's going on, you'll start to get suspicious. So, you have to put a few obstacles in his way and make him feel that you are measuring his weight. The head of the Wang Fu family is also an old hand, and he immediately said, okay, I'll arrange it right away. Shaoxi, which day would be more suitable for this celebration? The longer the night, the more trouble there is. Let's do it in 7 days. You can make arrangements as usual, and I'll take care of catching the chickens. After Fang Shi finished explaining, he called Elder Bai and others together to discuss the matter. Elder Yin said, isn't this easy to do? While the 4 family heads are discussing things with the little chicken, I can just capture him, right? Elder Bai was somewhat speechless. You make it sound so simple, but do you know whether he has hidden his cultivation level? What if his cultivation level is higher than yours? Even if he is not as tall as you, don't forget that he can be resurrected. If you alert the enemy by then, where can you find him? Elder Yin choked. Well, then give him the drug. Catch him after he is poisoned. Elder Bai disagreed. What if he is proficient in pharmacology? If he finds out, it will only alert the enemy. Elder Yin stiffened his neck and said, I think you are just trying to be naughty. Elder Bai was somewhat speechless. Why would I argue with you when there is nothing wrong? This is a serious matter, we must consider it comprehensively. Elder Yin wanted to say something else, but Fang Shi poured him a cup of tea and handed it to him. Elder Yin chatted and said nothing. Fang Shi said, although Jiting is arrogant, he is not stupid, so before taking action, we must lower his guard and make him feel that even if there is something fishy, it is under his control. Therefore, Changsheng Sect should send me as the representative to the Wang Fu family celebration this time. I will bring my brothers and sisters with me, and no one else will go. Elder Yin couldn't help but yelled. Shaoxi, you are kidding me. Can you catch that little chicken by yourself? Even if he didn't hide his cultivation, he would have reached the middle stage of the 6th level of the spiritualization stage. Now, let alone the spiritualization stage, you are not even a nascent soul stage. Fang Shi. Just talk, why are you exposing my shortcomings? Besides, once I succeed in breaking the pill and forming an infant, I will directly reach the middle stage of the spiritual transformation. Fang Shi said with a smile, Master, although my cultivation is low, my brain works well. I plan to do this. After Fang Shi finished speaking, everyone was stunned. Elder Yin said, I don't agree. It's too risky. Fang Shi glanced at him and said, come on, let's vote by raising our hands. Raise your hands if you agree with my proposal. Zhang Wen immediately raised his hand without any hesitation. Pei Zhou then raised his right hand as well. Jing Yan and Jiang Ji raised their hands almost at the same time. It's not that they don't worry about Fang Shi's safety, but they trust her, trust without any conditions attached. If junior sister says it can be done, then it must be done. If it can't be done, that's fine too. Then Sect Master Sima and Elder Huai also raised their hands to show their agreement. The 3 peak masters raised their hands quickly when they saw this. In the end, only Elder Yin was left. Fang Shi said with a smile, objection is invalid, just do as I say. Elder Yin was so angry that he was fuming, but there was nothing he could do but stare. Soon, the day of celebration arrived. The Wang Fu family spared no expense in decorating the entire Pancheng, and the interior of the Wang Fu family's home was decorated with lights and full of joy. The head of the Wang Fu family is in high spirits and looks several years younger than before. Wang Fu Wenyan was busy outside the gate, while he and Ji Ting were entertaining some distinguished guests in the study. At this time, the heads of the other three families had arrived. The three of them were so jealous. This little brat's eyesight is really not that good, why did he choose the Wang Fu family? Ji Ting saw their sour looks and thought that they were jealous of the head of the Wang Fu family because they loved talented people. He felt more and more proud. He has only shown that he is at the middle stage of the 6th level of the spiritual transformation realm, but they are flocking to him. If they knew that he is at the 8th level of the spiritual transformation realm, wouldn't they be fighting for him? I can reveal a few things when the time is right in the future so that I can control them. It's funny to say that the head of the Wang Fu family has been testing him openly and secretly these days, just to test his strength. It's really overpowering. After a few pleasantries, the head of the Wang Fu family said, "Three of you, Elder Ji is not an outsider, I will make some things clear to you. The dirty things Han Jide did must have been instructed by the Changsheng sect. Their purpose is not only to annex my Wang Fu family, but also your three families." Patriarch Meng laughed and said, "You are exaggerating. The Changsheng sect does dislike us, but they won't kill us to such an extent." The head of the Wang Fu family snorted coldly. "Then tell me why the Changsheng sect let Fengxi, a little girl, be the leader of the Vermilion Bird Peak. Why did they expose the existence of the two guardian elders at this time? Isn't this obviously meant to shock the Northern Territory? As long as the situation in the Northern Territory calms down, the Changsheng sect will be able to free up their hands to deal with us." Hearing what he said, the expressions of the three family heads became solemn. The head of the Wang Fu family continued, "So, our four families should unite in the future and stop quarreling. As long as we work together, the Changsheng sect will not be able to do anything to us." The three heads of the Meng family expressed their agreement, and a preliminary agreement was reached. After a long while, it was almost time for the auspicious moment, but the people from the Changsheng sect had not arrived yet, and the face of the head of the Wang Fu family looked a little ugly. He gritted his teeth and said, "Let's not wait for the people from the Changsheng sect. Let's go to the front yard." When they arrived at the front hall and were about to announce the start of the celebration, someone shouted, "The head of the Duke Peak of the Changsheng sect, Fengxi, has arrived." Everyone looked towards the entrance, and saw a little girl walking in with square steps and her hands behind her back. Behind her followed four young men dressed as direct disciples. The head of the Wang Fu family whispered to Ji Ting, "The one in the front is that stinky girl Fengxi, the four behind are his senior brothers, and the one with a look of despair on his face is my grandson." Upon hearing this, Ji Ting looked at Fengxi for a few times. She was just a yellow-haired girl with low cultivation. As for Jiang Ji and the other four behind her, he paid even less attention to them. He actually looked at Jing Yan a few more times. After all, he was the grandson of the head of the Wang Fu family and had some value. However, I heard that among the 6 brothers and sisters of Fengxi, one is missing. The whole sect is a dog licking, but the junior sister is a real dog. Chapter 1352. Do you know how to write the word and quat, tiank and quat? Fengxi also wanted to share the highlight moment of catching chickens with the 6 fellow brothers and sisters, but Rongzheng was locked up again 2 days ago. Once some things start, they will run wild like a wild horse running out of control. In order to avoid being caught by Rongzheng, the disciples of Changsheng sect learned to fight poison with poison, and the law enforcement hall even used a sting operation. Even though Rongzheng knew the rules of the sect by heart, and even though he was extremely cautious, he was still caught several times and then punished to the maximum extent possible. For example, if other disciples violated the same sect rules, they might just be given a warning, but in Rongzheng's case, they would be imprisoned for at least a day. All I can say is that Master Zhao of the law enforcement hall loves him deeply. The head of the Wang Fu family smiled and said, "Shaoxi, you are here." Fengxi nodded with a smile. "Grandpa, our Wang Fu family is holding a celebration, how can I not participate? It just so happens that everyone else in the sect is very busy, so the sect master sent me to represent them." The face of the head of the Wang Fu family was stiff for a moment, but he soon smiled and said, "The Changsheng clan is bigger than our 4 great families, so naturally it is busier. Come to Grandpa, it's about to start." Ji Ting watched from the side and thought, the Changsheng sect actually only sent 1 peak master, they really don't take the Wang Fu family seriously. No wonder the head of the Wang Fu family almost turned hostile just now. It seems that the conflict between the Changsheng sect and the 4 major families is big enough without him instigating anything. But this time, the celebration began. First, the head of the Wang Fu family gave a speech, then he solemnly introduced Ji Ting, the elder who protected the sect, and then the banquet began. In fact, many people came for the banquet and were too lazy to listen to the Wang Fu family head's chatter. The banquet was lively with wine and food being poured out. Ji Ting took the opportunity to observe and found that although the 4 family heads showed that they loved Fengxi very much, it was only on the surface and it was obvious at first glance that they were not sincere. As for Fengxi, he seems to be quite smart, but unfortunately his strength is a flaw. He is just a tool in the game between Changsheng sect and other forces. Fengxi was also observing Ji Ting quietly, thinking, he is worthy of being called Ying Sheng by his real name, so crazy. Although he appeared polite on the surface, his eyes were full of arrogance and contempt. In order to lower Ji Ting's vigilance, she used the magic formula she learned from Zhu Xiao to disguise her cultivation level as that of the 9th level of the Golden Core. It's normal that Ji Ting looks down on her. After the banquet, the 3 family heads asked to leave. Patriarch Wang Fu could not keep them and personally escorted them to the gate. After they left, Fengxi said with a smile, "Grandpa, the ones left this time are all our family members. Shouldn't you take out your treasured tea and let us taste it?" The head of the Wang Fu family laughed and scolded, "As soon as you come back, you're thinking about my tea. Let's go to the study." He turned to Ji Ting and said, "Elder Ji, you come along too." Although Ji Ting looked down on Fengxi, he couldn't help but give face to the head of the Wang Fu family. He also wanted to learn more about the Shangsheng sect from Feng Shi, so he nodded in agreement. Several people arrived at the study, and the head of the Wang Fu family took out a bag of tea and started brewing it. It was indeed good tea, and soon the study was filled with the aroma of tea. Several people were drinking tea and chatting, and the atmosphere was quite harmonious. After chatting for a while, Jiting became a little impatient because Feng Shi was so slippery and didn't say anything useful at all. So, he stood up and said, Master Feng Feng, I am a little drunk, so I will take my leave first. The head of the Wang Fu family nodded and told him to have a good rest. Jiting had just walked out of the study room and not far away when he heard someone shouting behind him, Elder Ji, wait, I'll take you back. Jiting looked back and saw that it was Feng Shi who spoke. He was very puzzled. Was Feng Shi going to send him back? This is somewhat abnormal. The two of them were not familiar with each other. Even if the head of the Wang Fu family was worried and wanted someone to send him off, it should be Wang Fuyan or the other three young men who should send him off. After all, Feng Shi is just a little girl. He was about to speak when he saw Feng Shi winking at him. Jiting's heart was moved. Could it be that the Changsheng sect also took a fancy to him? They wanted to steal the Wang Fu family's girl. That would be interesting. So, he swallowed his words of refusal and said, then I'll trouble Master Feng Feng. The two soon arrived at Jiting's yard. The head of the Wang Fu family really values Jiting. This courtyard is very grand, and he has arranged 8 servants to serve him. It's just that Jiting didn't like crowds, so he sent them all away. Jiting brought Feng Shi to the study. After both of them sat down, he got straight to the point. Master Feng Feng, do you have something to tell me? Feng Shi did not speak immediately, but took out several isolation array plates and activated them all. Jiting was amused. With his cultivation level, he could immediately detect someone coming from outside. Why would he need these things? However, he was now even more certain that Feng Shi wanted to win him over. After Feng Shi activated the isolation array, he sat down again and began to read Jiting's face. Jiting felt a little scared by her gaze and frowned. Master Feng, if you have anything to say, just say it. Feng Shi seemed to hesitate for a moment, then said. Elder Ji, do you know how to write the word, Tiank? Jiting was shocked. Was his identity exposed? No, the people of Jiu continent didn't even know the existence of Tiank Li, let alone knew him. Then why would Feng Shi ask such an irrelevant question? He wondered. Master Feng, why do you say that? Although I haven't read many books, I can still write these 2 words. Feng Shi pointed to the roof and asked, did Elder Ji come from up there? Jiting's pupils shrank slightly. Master Feng Feng, have you drunk too much? Why are your words so incoherent? As he said this, he gathered his spiritual power in his right hand, ready to kill at any time. Feng Shi stood up and said excitedly. Sir, are you really someone sent by the Tiank League? Jiting was completely confused. For a moment, I didn't know whether to deny or admit my identity. Could it be that this Feng Shi is a spy for their Tiank League? No, he had seen the list of spies from the left protector before, and there was no one named Feng Shi. But if she was not a spy for the Tiank League, why did she know all this and guess his identity? Just when he didn't know what to do next, Feng Shi lowered his voice and said. Sir, I am from the Changsheng sect's Elder Zhang. Jiting loosened his clenched right hand. Zhang Chanbo is indeed the Tiank League's spy in the Jiu continent. He originally wanted to find an opportunity to contact the other party, but he hadn't got the time yet. However, he still said nothing, staring at Feng Shi with a frown. But this time, Feng Shi took out a token from the storage ring. Elder Zhang was afraid that you wouldn't believe it, so he gave me a token. Please take a look. When Jiting took it and looked at it, he almost got angry. Isn't this the broken identity token of the Changsheng sect? What's the point of me watching this thing? No wonder the soul projection channel can't be opened. There are holes in the brains of these spies. Next chapter around 8 o'clock. The whole sect is a dog licking, but the junior sister is a real dog. Chapter 1353, the chicken catching operation was a complete success. Although Jiting cursed Elder Zhang for being brainless in his heart, he changed his mind and thought that the fact that Elder Zhang handed over the identity token to Feng Shi at least showed that he trusted Feng Shi very much. How could he know that this identity token was forged by Feng Shi? Anyway, Jiting is not a member of the Changsheng sect, so he can't tell the truth from the false. Jiting weighed the pros and cons in his mind and was 80% sure about Feng Zai's identity. After all, the identities of both the Tiank League and Elder Zhang are top secret, and it is impossible for anyone who is not one of them to know. But how did Feng Shi recognize him? Is it the name? Impossible. Even those spies don't know his name. As he was thinking, Feng Shi said, I know you have concerns, don't worry, Elder Zhang fed me poison, and I have to take the antidote every month. Even if I have the courage of the sky, I dare not betray the Tiank League. Besides, the Jiu continent will belong to the Tiank Alliance sooner or later, and I am still waiting to make achievements, so I can't be confused. If you don't believe me, you can give me a poison that can kill me at any time. After hearing this, Jiting's doubts about Feng Shi was somewhat dispelled. He did not feed Feng Shi poison, but asked, how did you recognize me? Feng Shi said immediately, Sir, Elder Zhang said that although there are many independent cultivators in the southern region, few can reach your level of cultivation. I have never heard of your name before, which is somewhat suspicious. Apart from this, he should have other reasons, which are probably not convenient for me to know. Anyway, he suspects that you are from the Tiank Alliance, so he asked me to come here today and act accordingly. The first time I saw you, I knew you must be from the Tiank League. You may not believe it, but your temperament is completely different from others. The 4 family masters are just like minions in front of you. How could you be just an independent cultivator? Jiting guessed that Elder Zhang might be unable to contact the Tiank Alliance because the chain of time and space was damaged, so he guessed that the Tiank Alliance would send someone down. As for Feng Shi's flattery later, he accepted it all. Because that's what he thought in his heart. A group of ants. Even the heads of the 4 so-called aristocratic families cannot be compared with him. Now he completely believed in Feng Xi's identity. Besides confirming my identity, what else did Zhang Chanbo ask you to do? Feng Shi said respectfully. He told me to follow your arrangements. We will do whatever you say. Jiting snorted coldly. He is quite self-aware. How about this, you tell me the situation of Changsheng Sect in detail. Feng Shi immediately said, the Changsheng Sect is now in disarray, especially after the death of Master Han Feng. People's hearts are unsettled. They pushed me to the position of peak master, which was also the result of the game between various parties. As for the 2 elders who protected the sect, it was so hilarious to talk about them. They were originally hidden cards, but Sima King Hong was eager to stabilize the situation, so he had to reveal their identities. By the way, I heard that their cultivation is unfathomable. I asked them several times indirectly but they didn't tell me. If you meet them in the future, you must be more careful. Jiting snorted coldly. Do you really think that I only have the cultivation level of the 6th level of the spiritual transformation realm? Feng Shi's eyes suddenly widened. Sir, what is your cultivation level? Jiting said proudly. The 8th level of the spiritual transformation is perfect. Feng Shi was horrified. 8th level of perfection. Then, won't it be the 9th level of the spiritual transformation soon? It seems that I was worrying too much. Those 2 sect guardian elders are definitely no match for you. There is really no comparison. Both of them are already in the late 9th level of the spirit transformation realm. If they were not afraid of being struck by lightning, they would have advanced to the great perfection of the 9th level of the spirit transformation realm long ago. I have to say that the founder of the Changsheng sect is indeed far-sighted. Leaving behind these 2 powerful weapons. At this point, Feng Shi chuckled. I just activated several isolation arrays, but now it seems that there is no need for this. With your level of cultivation, no one can get close to here. Feng Shi said this and put away all the isolation arrays. Jiting was very proud at this time and naturally didn't care. After Feng Shi put away the isolation array, he asked curiously, Sir, Elder Zhang told me that everyone in our Tiank League has the ability to come back to life after death. Is this true? Jiting nodded. Of course it's true. Feng Shi praised Jiting again, and Jiting was in a good mood. He looked at Feng Shi with a much better liking than before. Sir, please don't mind me saying something. Elder Zhang said that you big shots all have some kind of halo, but why didn't I see it? Is it because my eyesight is bad, or what? Jiting laughed. You mean the soul ring? I hid it, so you can't see it. Feng Shi then revealed an expression of sudden enlightenment, and then rubbed his hands. Well, sir, there is no one else here, can you open my eyes? Jiting hesitated for a moment, but when he saw Feng Xi's admiring eyes, he felt that he needed to pretend. So, he said, how difficult is this? As he spoke, he formed seals with his hands, and a moment later, a circle of light appeared behind him. Feng Shi's eyes were about to pop out. He even covered his mouth with his hands. Her performance successfully pleased Jiting, and he thought to himself, she is indeed a bumpkin who has never seen the world. Feng Shi said cautiously, Sir, can I take a closer look? I know this may be a little offensive, but I just want to take a closer look at what this saint's ring is. Jiting was amused. Saint's ring, this new name is quite good. Then come over and take a look. Feng Shi was flattered and stood carefully beside Jiting. While praising him, he turned behind him and smashed Jiting's soul ring with a big brick. Jiting's attention was completely focused on Feng Xi's flattery, and he never expected that Feng Shi would suddenly attack. In addition, Feng Shi was standing behind him, too close to the soul ring. He has nowhere to hide, no way to avoid it. This shot is so solid. The soul ring dimmed by 80% in an instant. At the same time, Elder Yin and Elder Bai appeared in the room, and they attacked almost at the same time. They were not going for Jiting's soul ring, but to capture him alive. Everything happened in a flash. Before Jiting could even react, he was subdued by Elder Yin and Elder Bai. Even if he had the incredible ability to be resurrected, he could only be at the mercy of others because his spiritual power was imprisoned. Feng Shi opened Jiting's mouth to check to make sure he didn't have poison in his mouth and wanted to commit suicide. I'm not worried that he would bite his tongue to commit suicide, because he wouldn't die even if he did. Even so, Feng Shi was still worried. She took out a handful of pills and stuffed them into Jiting's mouth, and also cut the tendons in his legs. After doing all this, Feng Shi said with a smile, I declare that the chicken catching operation was a complete success. The whole sect is a dog. Chapter 1354, You Bird Alliance are too poor and useless. At this moment, Jiting collapsed on the ground like a puddle of mud. He really couldn't accept the reality. He came here with great ambitions, thinking that he would be able to open a soul projection channel within half a year. However, it was less than half a month later and he was caught. It's fake, it's all an illusion. When he was doubting his life, Feng Shi sighed. Alas, what a pity. I originally thought that this chicken catching operation would be full of hardships and twists and turns. I even prepared more than 100 contingency plans for it, but in the end, I caught you so easily. It's a waste of all the time I stayed up late to tailor a plan for you. Why can't you stand up for yourself? Jiting. Feng Shi asked him, do you know why you were arrested? Jiting snorted coldly, I advise you not to waste your time. I won't say anything. Feng Shi chuckled, I didn't ask you to answer me. Didn't you hear that I was asking and answering my own questions? Your brain is not working very well. Jiting. Feng Shi said with a smile. Come, I'll tell you the reason now, because your name is not good. Jiting, it sounds like an emergency stop. You are destined to stop halfway through whatever you are doing, and it has to be an emergency stop. TSK, how about you change your name to Little Chicken? Having said this, Feng Shi looked at Jiting sincerely. By the way, is Jiting your real name? You wouldn't be stupid enough to use your real name to be a spy, right? Jiting couldn't stand this insult and spat out a mouthful of blood. His eyelids drooped and he passed out. Fang Shi. She didn't say anything, so why did she vomit blood? She fainted. This is such poor psychological quality. This physical condition is not that good. It turns out that soul projection is unreliable and unorthodox methods are not advisable. As she thought about it, she pulled Jiting's storage ring off. After she erased the mark of Jiting's spiritual consciousness left on it, she happily probed her spiritual consciousness into it. Ideal is full, the reality is very skinny. She thought there would be a lot of good things in Jiting's storage ring, but in fact, apart from a few bottles of pills and talismans, there were only tens of thousands of spirit stones. Is an elder of the Tiank League so poor? No, she couldn't. When she entered the Nine Netherworld realm before, from the tone of those trial disciples, she knew that their Tiank League was extremely rich. Fang Shi poured out the pills again and was even more disappointed when he saw them. She and Zhang Wen had previously taken the elixir given to them by one king at the ancient battlefield at the border between the northern and southern regions. It should have been seized from the Tiank Alliance. It is a top-grade elixir with golden patterns. After eating it, your cultivation level will increase rapidly. She thought that Jiting would also carry this kind of elixir with him, but it turned out to be just an ordinary high-grade elixir. As for why he made this judgment, it was because the 5 dog spirit roots in his danshan did not react. Their noses are sharper than dogs. They didn't react, so this pill must be not very good. It has to be said that the 5 dog spirit roots have become picky after being fed by Fang Shi. At the beginning, let alone top-grade elixirs, even ordinary elixirs made him drool. Jiting was just angry for a moment, but he soon came to his senses. As soon as he opened his eyes, he saw Fang Shi staring at him as if he was the murderer of his father. Where are the spirit stones? Where are the elixirs that can increase my cultivation? Tell me, where did you hide my spirit stones and elixirs? Jiting. The next moment he saw that Fang Shi was holding his storage ring in his hand. At the same time, he also felt a sharp pain in his consciousness, which was obviously caused by the forcible erasure of the spiritual mark on the storage ring. Seeing that he didn't say anything and was glaring at her with dead fish eyes, Fang Shi came over and kicked him. Useless thing, not only are you stupid, but you're also so poor. What use are you too? Jiting choked when he was kicked and almost fainted again. Elder Yin said quickly, Shaoxi, this little chicken is too weak, you should be careful, don't let it die by accident. Fang Shi nodded, Master, what you said makes sense. This little chicken is the first prisoner of the Tiank League that we have captured. He will be the key protected person of our Juyu continent in the future. Fang Shi said as he took out a handful of pills and stuffed them into Jiting's mouth, here, I'll give you some supplements. Jiting almost choked to death. However, after taking the pill, I felt noticeably more energetic than before. Fang Shi asked him a soul-searching question, tell me, why are you so poor? Jiting never dreamed that there would be a day when his enemies would despise him for being poor. And they are the ants that he looks down upon. He gritted his teeth and said, you can't carry too many things when projecting your soul, especially spirit stones. Fang Shi asked again, even if you can't bring too many spirit stones, why don't you bring more good elixirs? The kind that can quickly increase a person's cultivation without any side effects. Jiting said speechlessly, if I had the elixir you mentioned, I would have raised my cultivation to the peak of the 9th level of the spiritual transformation realm long ago. Fang Shi was wondering, is it possible that the Tiank League no longer has the elixir with golden patterns? After all this talk, it turns out that your bird alliance is too poor and useless. Jiting. Bird alliance. Calling him a little chicken and a bird alliance, Fang Zai's words are really mean. Jiting was so angry that he was shaking. A gentleman can be killed but not humiliated, you. Fang Shi picked up the teacup on the coffee table and smashed it on his face. How dare you, a shameless invader, call yourself a warrior? You are worse than beasts. You, the Bird Alliance, are insulting birds. Jiting sneered, the strong prey on the weak, this is the natural order of things. If you want to blame someone, blame the people of Yunnan Nether Continent for being so useless. Fang Shi was not angry at all after hearing this, but laughed instead. Very good, when I conquer your Tiank continent, I will use your point of view to convince you. Jiting was stunned at first, then burst into laughter. You alone, are you going to take over Tiank continent? Let's not talk about how overestimating your abilities is the point. The key is that people from the Juyu continent simply cannot enter our Tiank continent because you are not worthy. Fang Shi glanced at Elder Bai and said, let him know if I am worthy or not. Elder Bai went up and started to make a series of moves, the main goal of which was to make you suffer but not to kill you. Jiting had one of his back teeth knocked out. He opened his mouth and spat out his lost back teeth. Pa. Fang Shi nodded, alright, stop fighting, he said he deserves it. Jiting. Madman. He thinks Fang Shi is a lunatic. Next chapter around 8 o'clock. The whole sect is a dog licking, but the junior sister is a real dog. Chapter 1355 Jiting's anger finally found an outlet. Jiting gnashed his teeth and said, Fang Shi, don't think that just because I fall into your hands, you can compete with our Tiank League. I was just careless. If I did it again, the result would definitely be completely different. Fang Shi tilted her little head and looked at him. Come on, tell me what you would do if you could do it all over again. Change your name. Oh, you fainted just now and didn't answer me. Is your name really Jiting? Jiting. Do you really need to lash out at me over and over again about this matter? Giving his real name would be a lifelong shame for him. Fang Shi burst into laughter. It seems that your name is really Jiting. What do you think the people from the Tiank League were thinking? Why did you send a fool as a spy? Jiting was so angry that he almost split his legs. Although he can't be said to be extremely smart, he is not a simple-minded person. This time it was entirely because we underestimated the enemy. In his inherent understanding, the people of Juyu continent are a group of ants, and he can easily manipulate them in the palm of his hand. So, He was careless and took everything for granted. In addition, since Fang Shi mentioned that Elder Zhang was indeed their spy, he relaxed his vigilance even more. At this moment, Fang Shi said, "Little chicken, maybe you don't know. Elder Zhang has sold out your Tiank League. No matter how you enter our Jiu continent, you are doomed to fail." Jiting finally had an outlet for his frustration. Warm greetings to Elder Zhang's ancestors. After he finished cursing, Fang Shi asked, "We have sealed off the soul projection channel. How did you get into our Jiu continent?" Jiting sneered, "Don't even think about getting any useful information from me." After saying that, he stopped talking. No matter how Fang Shi provoked him, he remained silent. Although he was caught for being stupid, he would never betray the Tiank alliance. Elder Yin said, "Shaoxi, just search his soul directly." Fang Shi shook his head. Elder Zhang said that the consciousness of these people from the Tiank League has been restricted. If it is touched, the part of the soul that is projected will die completely. Although their spiritual consciousness will be damaged to a certain extent in the Tiank League, they will not die. Jiting couldn't help but grit his teeth. It seemed that Zhang Chanbo, the traitor, had really told everything. Damn it. In fact, when he was captured, he wanted to use his spiritual sense to actively trigger the restriction. However, he found that Elder Yin and Elder Bai not only imprisoned his spiritual power but also his spiritual sense. He could only stare blankly. Fang Shi decided to bring Jiting back to Changsheng Sect first, and then make plans. With Elder Bai and Elder Yin around, it would not be a problem at all to take a living person away without anyone noticing. After Fang Shi and the others left, the head of the Wang Fu family announced to the public that Elder Ji was in seclusion. It is very common for monks to go into seclusion, especially those with high cultivation levels, who would go into seclusion every now and then, so it would not arouse suspicion from others. The most crucial thing is that the leaders of all the major forces in the Jiu continent are all aware of the matter, so naturally they will not send anyone to inquire about it. After Fang Shi returned to Changsheng Sect, Sect Master Sima, the 4 Supreme Elders and the 3 Peak Masters all came over to visit the little chicks. Master Mo of Qinglong Peak said with a sigh, "The people of the Tiank League actually have halos, just like the shell of a dung beetle." Jiting. After everyone satisfied their curiosity, they gathered together to discuss what to do next. Sect Master Sima said, "Let's lock him up in the Holy Land of Haoshan. There shouldn't be any problems if the 4 great elders watch over him." Everyone thought this proposal was a good one. Only Fang Shi disagreed. "We finally caught this little chick. It would be such a waste if we just locked him up." Everyone looked at Fang Shi in confusion. What should they do if they don't lock him up? You can't let it go, right? Fang Shi looked at everyone and said, "Do you think there is a possibility that we can use him for our benefit?" Everyone. Are you dreaming? It was obvious at first glance that Jiting was very stubborn, and his main body was still in Tiank continent, so he was not afraid of death at all. They can threaten him with his life, so they had no way of forcing him to submit. Fang Shi explained, "It's not that he surrendered voluntarily, but was forced to surrender." Everyone. Does it make any difference? The key is how can you force him to surrender? At this time, Zhang Wen's eyes lit up. "Junior sister, are you saying that we can use the Blood Evil Bone contract to contract the little chicken?" Fang Shi nodded approvingly. "That's right, I plan to tamper with the original spiritual mark in Jiting's spiritual consciousness and make it mine. That way he wouldn't be able to commit suicide. If he surrenders, that would be the best. If he doesn't, I'll search his soul and get what we want." After hearing this, everyone fell into dead silence. Elder Yin took the lead and said, "Shaoxi, your idea is good, but it is too difficult. Let alone tampering with his spiritual mark, it is hard to say whether you can brand someone with spiritual mark. After all, the objects you tried before were all skeletons, so this thing may be different from ours." The old skeleton who was squatting in the corner and listening jumped up and slapped Elder Yin. "What is this thing? Are you talking human language?" Elder Yin was also caught off guard, otherwise the old skeleton would not have been able to succeed. He was a little annoyed, but when he thought that the old skeleton was a hero after all, he had to endure it. Fang Shi decided to give it a try anyway, because if successful, it might have a decisive impact on the entire battle situation. But before using it on Jiting, we have to do some experiments first. Jiting is currently projecting her soul, so she has to find her soul to try. Lin Xiangchuan immediately said, "Fang Zhu, please try me. I believe in your strength." Fang Shi nodded, "Okay." Lin Xiangchuan. "Normally, shouldn't you refuse, even if you just pretend? You agreed so readily, which makes you seem so heartless." Fang Shi certainly wouldn't joke about Lin Xiangchuan's life, so she separated a part of Lin Xiangchuan's soul. This way, even if the experiment fails, you won't be in trouble. When the time comes, let the small mirror supply him with more spiritual energy from heaven and earth, and he will recover sooner or later. Sect leader Sima and the others were dumbfounded. Can part of the soul be separated out? However, when I think about the soul projection of the Tiank League, it doesn't seem so outrageous. Fang Shi separated a small part of Lin Xiangchuan's soul, and then used the remaining part for experiments. She has become very proficient in the technique of spiritual branding. After all, she has contracted with thousands of red skeletons. She felt that having or not having a physical body would not affect the imprint of spiritual consciousness, because the imprint itself was made in the sea of consciousness. Just as Fang Shi expected, she successfully left a spiritual imprint on Lin Xiangchuan. But this is not enough, because there is another mark in Jiting's sea of consciousness. How can she modify it into her own spiritual mark without triggering the other party? At this time, Zhu Shihuan said, "The principle of spiritual consciousness branding is suppression. The reason you can successfully brand someone with spiritual consciousness is because your spiritual consciousness suppresses the other person. Therefore, you don't need to think about modifying the other party's spiritual mark, you can just cover it with force and naturally replace it." Fang Shi was immediately delighted. "Grandpa, you are so sure. How sure are you?" Blood-devouring Huan, 100%. Fang Shi. "I see, I am not sure at all. The whole sect is a dog licking, but the junior sister is a real dog, Chapter 1356. She is a walking shield. Fang Shi knew her cheap grandfather Zhu Xuan too well. If he said 70%, 80%, or even 90%, she would believe it. Nowadays, once you open your mouth, you can tell he's talking nonsense. Zhu Xuan was indeed unsure. After all, this little chick was a rare thing, and it was the first time he had seen one. Who knew if he could succeed? However, he did not make it up randomly, but also came up with it after some analysis and summary. At this time, Jing Yan, who rarely spoke up, said, "Junior sister, I think the spiritual mark is actually the same as the contracted spirit beast. Why not find some spirit beasts and have others sign contracts first, and then you can try to modify or cover them with the spirit mark to see if it works?" Fang Shi's eyes lit up. "Fourth brother, your idea is great." Everyone showed their approval. He is worthy of being the grandson of the head of Wang Fu family. Although he is usually taciturn, he is very thoughtful. Zhang Wen felt jealous. He used to be the one providing inspiration to his junior sister, but now it was Jing Laosi who took it away. No, it's not just Jing Laosi, Pei Lao also steals his limelight. At this time, he actually liked his third senior brother Rongzheng a little, because Rongzheng had been too low-key recently and had not shown up for several days. By the way, Rong Lao-san already owes junior sister a lot of spiritual stones, right? I've been too busy lately and haven't had time to think about it. Sect leader Sima quickly found several spirit beasts for experimentation. Fang Shi separated part of their spirits before conducting the experiment. Even if the experiment failed, the lives of these spirit beasts would not be in danger. Sect Master Sima immediately said with emotion, "Fang Zhu is indeed the chosen one who shoulders the responsibility of saving the Nine Nether Continent. We admire his kindness." Lin Xiangchuan, who had just become the subject of the experiment. "If you really have this awareness, why don't you just sacrifice yourself? You let Fang Zhu use you as an experiment." Then looking at his 4 disciples who were like wooden stakes, he felt tired. If it weren't for these 4 people holding him back, he wouldn't have volunteered to be a test subject. Thinking about his lifetime of fame, in the end, it turned out that he had the same effect as these spiritual beasts. It's so sad. At this time, Fang Shi had already started the experiment. Her experimental subject was a one-horned mad lion that had just been contracted by Sima Zongzhu. Fang Shi wrapped up the spiritual aura of the unicorn lion at an extremely fast speed, and the mark of the contract left by Sima Zongzhu on its spiritual aura was also wrapped up at the same time. Immediately afterwards, Fang Shi began the fusion process, imprinting his spiritual consciousness during the fusion process. Everyone watched nervously, especially Sect Master Sima, who was sensing any changes in the contract at any time. What surprised him was that Fang Shi had clearly begun to imprint his spiritual consciousness on the one-horned mad lion, but he didn't notice it at all. How is this going? With this doubt, he continued to perceive. At this time, Fang Shi was also observing the changes in the one-horned mad lion's consciousness. As the process of spiritual imprinting progressed, she saw that the contract mark left by Sect leader Sima in the one-horned mad lion's sea of consciousness was actually covered by her spiritual imprint. Cheap Grandpa's inference turned out to be correct. After the spiritual imprint was completed, Fang Shi asked Sect Master Sima, "What do you feel?" Sect Master Sima looked bewildered. "There is nothing unusual. I even think that the contractual connection between me and the one-horned mad lion is still there." Fang Shi had not expected this, so he said, "Why don't you try to communicate with it?" After trying, Sect leader Sima shook his head and said, "There is no way to communicate." Fang Shi was stunned for a moment, then said with a smile, "That would be great." She was a little worried before that if she covered Jiting's original spiritual imprint, the other party would notice it, which would alert the enemy. But if the other party won't find out at all, then there is no need to worry about this. Fang Shi tried to give orders to the unicorn lion and control it with his spiritual sense. Both were very smooth. The most important thing is that when she was doing all this, the original owner, Sima Zongzhu, didn't notice it at all. Fang Shi removed the imprint of his spiritual consciousness again, and the contract between Sect leader Sima and the one-horned mad lion instantly returned to normal. Fang Shi understood. She is a walking blocker. The imprint of her spiritual consciousness acted as a shield. Fang Shi conducted the experiment on several other spirit beasts and got the same result. She felt suddenly happy. I have stayed in the Wanggu Xianzong for such a long time before. Although my spiritual bones have been reduced to 0, I have learned how to brand my spiritual consciousness. It was not in vain. It is true that having many skills is always a blessing. Zhu Shihuan was also very proud. He arrived at the correct answer simply by inference. How could this not be considered a skill? He just doesn't have a physical body now, otherwise the Nine Nether Continent would not be able to accommodate him. Fang Shi started to do the aftermath work again. She had separated the person's soul, so naturally she had to help, sew it back together. After the stitches were completed, Fang Shi said to Sect Master Sima and the others, "You can keep these spirit beasts. They are also the good fortune." Sect Master Sima and the others nodded in agreement. They knew that Fang Shi was also afraid that these spirit beasts would fall into the hands of others and be discovered. In fact, you can just kill him and put an end to it all. As I said, Fang Zhu has a kind heart. Only such a person can save the Juyu continent. Everyone looked at Fang Shi with admiration and respect, even their master, Elder Yin, was no exception. Blood-devouring Huan curled his lips. "Shaoxi, there's no need to use the light of the saint on your own people, right? Grandpa, you don't understand this, right? The more you face your own people, the more you have to maintain your image, because your own people will be more critical. Human hearts are the most complicated. In this world, apart from you, my master, and my 5th senior brother, I don't trust anyone else." Zhu Shihuan was so moved. Because he was ranked ahead of that bastard Xiao Beidao. It wasn't easy at all, but he, who had been the runner-up for so many years, finally made a comeback. That Xiao Beidao just took the lead, otherwise he would not be able to compare with him in any way. Zhu Xuan was just feeling moved when he heard Fang Shi say, "Grandpa, you should learn from me. If you had 1/10 of my ability in dealing with people, you wouldn't have ended up with such a mess on your tombstone." Zhu Xuan immediately threw his feelings away. You little girl, can't I give you a good face? Fang Shi decided to strike while the iron was hot and sign a contract with Jiting immediately. In fact, before catching the chicken, she considered whether to use him to lure the Tiank League spies, or deliberately let him know some false information to mislead the Tiank League, but after consideration, she gave up. Although Jiting looks stupid, that is because he is blinded by his conceit. He will inevitably find the flaws over time, and if that happens, all his efforts will be wasted. It is better to fight quickly and catch the chicken in the cage. After Fang Shi had Jiting brought over, he said to him very seriously, Jiting, the time has come to decide your fate. Jiting was suddenly shocked, because Fang Shi had always been smiling and playful before, but suddenly became so serious, which made him think more. What do you mean? Ready to kill him? Is there such a good thing? The whole sect is a dog licking, but the junior sister is a real dog. Chapter 1357, Diversity of Species in the Netherworld. Fang Shi stared at Jiting and said slowly, I give you two choices. One is that you take the initiative to tell me everything you know, and the other is that you become my slave. Jiting. Are you dreaming? It's impossible to tell what you know. As for slaves, that is even more impossible. I, Jiting, would rather die than surrender. Even if you torture, even if you use threats or inducements, it will be useless. So he said coldly, I don't choose either one. Fang Shi nodded, okay, since you chose the second one, then I will fulfill your wish. Congratulations, you are about to become my first Tiank slave. Jiting, you are daydreaming. Fang Shi pointed outside, it's dark now. Jiting. He felt that there was only one reason for his failure this time, and that was that he did not fully consider the diversity of species in the Juyu continent, and he met a pervert. He had met all kinds of people in Tiank continent, but he had never met such a shameless, unconventional, and crazy pervert. Fang Shi kindly explained his doubts to him. You may not believe this, but I can brand you with a spiritual mark without disturbing your original spiritual mark. In this way, won't you be my little slave? Jiting suddenly widened his eyes. You can brand the spiritual consciousness. This is a spiritual consciousness technique that only exists in our Tiank continent, and only a few people know about it. How did you know it? Fang Shi bared his white teeth, guess. Jiting. He sneered. You must be lying to me again. The requirements for the spiritual sense imprint are extremely high. Only a very small number of people can master it. There is no way you can master this technique. To put it another way, even if you really know how to imprint the spiritual consciousness, you will not be able to succeed, because the caster must have a much higher level of cultivation than the object being branded. It's a joke that you, a small Jindan, want to brand the consciousness of a cultivator at the 8th level of the spiritual transformation realm. Fang Shi curled her lips and said, stop talking nonsense here. If it's really like what you said, who put the mark of divine consciousness in your sea of consciousness? It can't be your leader, right? Jiting snorted coldly and said nothing. Fang Shi said, your performance tells me that the mark of your spiritual consciousness was left by the leader of your bird alliance. TSK, it seems he doesn't even have basic trust in you. Do you think you need to risk your life for such a scumbag? It is better for you to turn to the light and be loyal to me. I will trust you unconditionally and entrust you with important tasks. How is it? For a moment, Jiting thought Fang Shi might be able to read minds. But on second thought, she must be lying to him. So he looked at Fang Shi with contempt and said nothing. Fang Shi actually said so much just now with only one purpose, which was to test whether there was any mark of spiritual consciousness in Jiting's sea of consciousness. Although according to experience there should be some, he came down through the Duzhuan Shanhei mirror after all, so maybe it's special. If there was no mark of spiritual consciousness, there would be no need for her to take the risk. Now it seems that not only does it exist, but it is also the mark of divine consciousness left by the leader of the Tiank Alliance himself. In this case, we can only follow the original plan to brand the chick with spiritual consciousness. Fang Shi was somewhat nervous. Although he had done experiments before, the experimental subjects were not projections of the soul after all. Especially since the mark of spiritual consciousness in Jiting's consciousness was placed by the leader of the Bird Alliance, it might be stronger than her consciousness. If she is not careful, she might end up making things worse. But this is the only thing we can do now, otherwise there is no way to pry Jiting open his mouth. She took a deep breath and suddenly let out a cry. Jiting was shocked. Fang Shi took advantage of the moment when he was distracted and quickly enveloped his spiritual aura with his spiritual sense. At the same time, she also saw the mark of spiritual consciousness in Jiting's sea of consciousness. This mark is much more complicated than those of Sect Master Sima and the others, which also means that the spiritual consciousness of the person who planted the mark must be very powerful. However, perhaps the mark of spiritual consciousness was planted in Jiting's sea of consciousness, and Fang Shi did not sense any threat. She immediately felt relieved. He began to imprint Jiting's spiritual consciousness in an orderly manner. Sect leader Sima and the others all held their breath, their hearts in their throats. On the one hand, he was worried that Fang Shi would fail, and on the other hand, he was worried that Fang Shi would be in danger. Time becomes extraordinarily long. Finally, Fang Shi let out a long sigh. It's done. Everyone cheered immediately. In sharp contrast to this is Jiting, who is completely disheartened. Fang Shi had already released his spiritual consciousness. After checking his sea of consciousness, he questioned Fang Zai's soul. You pervert, what did you do to me? Then Fang Zai's mean voice rang out in his consciousness. Jiting, my slave, what do you think I did to you? Jiting completely collapsed at this moment. He roared, he struggled, he was furious, he even wanted to bite his tongue to commit suicide. Unfortunately, he couldn't bite any further after just one bite. It wasn't that he was afraid of the pain, but Fang Shi said to him with his spiritual sense. It's useless even if you bite off your tongue. I have excellent medicine here. You will not die. Of course, if you want to be mute, I won't stop you. Jiting really wanted to die at this moment. He had never thought that death had become a luxury. Thinking back to his high-spirited self not long ago, his confidence in front of the left protector, and his complacency in front of the head of the Wang Fu family, all of these became a joke now. What a big joke. He was so foolish as to give his real name. Instead of becoming the nightmare of the ants in the Nine Nether Continent, he became his own nightmare. He could no longer bear the blow and fainted. Fang Shi was heartbroken. This is her first Tiank slave, what will she do if something goes wrong? She quickly asked someone to feed Jiting the elixir, and even reconnected his 2 broken tendons. After doing this, she said to Sima Zongzhu and others. Compared to killing him with a knife, I was so merciful. There is no way, I'm a soft-hearted person and I cannot do anything too cruel. Jiting, who had just woken up, fainted again out of anger after hearing this. When Jiting woke up again, he saw Fang Zai's shameless little face as soon as he opened his eyes. He closed his eyes immediately. He didn't want to see this demon. The next moment, Fang Zai's voice rang out in his consciousness, "My slave, wake up." Jiting roared, "Don't call me that." Fang Shi blinked. "If not a slave, what should I call you? Ji Niu, Ting Niu, or a little chicken?" Jiting regretted for the 10,000th time giving his real name. If he were given another chance, he would report the name of his mortal enemy. The whole sect is a dog licking, but the junior sister is a real dog. Chapter 1358, Senior Brother, why do you seem to have gained weight? When Jiting was feeling hopeless, Fang Shi suddenly burst into giggles. It's a creepy no matter how I listen to it. Jiting instinctively felt that he might be in trouble. Although he is unlucky enough now, this madman Fang Shi can always refresh his cognition. You, what are you laughing at? Fang Zai's face was full of smiles. I suddenly remembered that you can be resurrected. With your cultivation level, you can be resurrected at least 7 or 8 times, right? This means that when I encounter danger in the future, I can push you out to die without any psychological burden. Isn't this equivalent to giving me 7 or 8 more lives? I really made a fortune this time. Before Jiting could speak, Fang Shi continued. If you can be resurrected, I won't be afraid that you will commit suicide secretly because you can't bear it. Anyway, even if you die a few times, you will still fall into my hands in the end. By the way, I'm warning you, if you dare to commit suicide behind my back, I will search your soul after you are resurrected. Then you won't be able to hide the fact that you peeked at men taking baths when you were a kid. Jiting roared, even if I peek, I would only peek at women taking a bath, why would I look at men? Fang Shi, oh tilde tilde tilde. Jun Wen came over, oh tilde tilde tilde. The old skeleton squatting in the corner, abba, oh tilde tilde tilde. Jiting seemed to be unable to do anything except feel helpless and furious. He felt that since arriving in the Juyu continent, his brain didn't seem to be as sharp as it used to be. Is this the drawback of the Duzhuan Xinghe mirror? He would never admit that his brain was crushed by Fang Shi. He thought Fang Shi would interrogate him next, and punish him with his spiritual sense if he didn't answer. However, Fang Shi asked Elder Bai to release his spiritual power, and then asked Elder Bai to take him to rest and recuperate. Jiting couldn't help but sneer. Is he planning to use gentle means to influence him? What a wishful thinking. Well, although it seems that he has fallen into a dead end now, as long as he is given time, he will be able to think of a way to break the deadlock. There is a long way to go, Fang Shi, let's just wait and see. I have to say that Jiting's character is quite tenacious. His self-confidence, which was shattered to pieces, can still be used after patching it up. After Jiting was taken away by Elder Bai, Sect leader Sima said with admiration. Fang Zhu, I am so tongue-tied that I don't know what to say for a moment. You are so amazing. Those people from the Tiank League wanted to invade us, but in the end, the spies they sent became your contract slaves. This is so satisfying. You are worthy of being the backbone of our Changsheng sect and the savior of Juyu continent. I won't say anything else. Please accept my greeting. As Sect leader Sima spoke, he bowed to Fang Shi. Seeing this, others naturally followed suit and saluted. Lin Xiangchuan was so jealous that he almost died. You are such a poor talker. Are my 4 disciples all considered dumb? At this time, Fang Shi said, you are too kind, I am just doing my duty, and all of you have contributed to this. Especially Xiangchuan, who was willing to be my first experimental subject. It can be said that he has put his life and death aside. He is the one you should pay tribute to. Lin Xiangchuan, who was originally jealous, suddenly became so happy. Fang Zhu is so wise. He likes to follow people who are clear about rewards and punishments. Fang Shi added, in addition, I have to thank my grandfather. If he hadn't pointed out the key, I would have had to take a long detour. He is truly a versatile person, capable of doing everything, and a role model for our generation. Zhu Xuan really didn't expect Fang Shi to do this. He immediately showed his big head and said with a big grin. What Xiaoxi said is absolutely right. As a grandfather, I must protect her and give her help at the critical moment. Do you know why I can see through the essence of the divine consciousness imprint? Because I have a very thorough study of divine consciousness, not only divine consciousness, but also other aspects. Fang Shi really wanted to push him back, but she still endured it. My cheap grandpa doesn't usually have the opportunity to show off, so let him be happy this time. Half an hour later, Zhu Xuan finally finished his acceptance speech. During this period, Fang Shi yawned more than 10 times. She had been thinking about the plan of catching chickens these days and had been seriously sleep-deprived. Now that the dust had settled, she just wanted to catch up on some sleep. When Zhu Xuan had finished speaking, she said to everyone, you guys should line up and take turns to go to Elder Bai to watch over Jiting, so that he won't cause any trouble. Although she could use her spiritual sense to control the other party, she could do nothing if the other party wanted to commit suicide, such as by slitting his throat. Fortunately, the chicks will be resurrected even if they die, otherwise it would be difficult to deal with. Of course, if he can commit suicide, it's better not to do it. It would be great if he could keep a few more lives to protect her from the knife. Therefore, Fang Shi had to send someone to keep an eye on him to prevent him from committing suicide. Of course, this is not a long-term solution. She still has to find a way to make the little chicks willing to work for her. No rush, take a nap first. Fang Shi slept until noon the next day. She stretched herself and had a very good sleep. She also had a sweet dream. She dreamed that the Tiank Alliance sent down a few more chickens, ducks and geese, and they all became her Tiank slaves. Just as she was about to eat something, Rong Zheng came. Fang Shi almost didn't dare to recognize it. The last time she saw Rong Zheng was when he happily accepted the mission. At that time, Rong Zheng was full of energy and was even more strict than the sect rules. Now his face is ashen, his cheeks are sunken, and his head is drooped. Fang Shi counted on her fingers and it seemed like it was less than half a month. How did you end up like this? Did Master Zhao torture him? No, Master Zhao is a very capable person, otherwise he wouldn't have come to her to complain before. How could she know that Rong Zheng suffered a mental blow? He couldn't eat or sleep during this period. As soon as he closed his eyes, he would be caught by someone's braid. It is no exaggeration to say that he even has to think in advance which leg to move first before walking, and he has to perform the cleaning technique on himself hundreds of times a day to avoid being found to have any problems. Even so, he was still picked on and occasionally given a day in prison. He used to feel overwhelmed whenever he thought about the sect rules, but now he feels a headache whenever he thinks about them. Not to mention the 30 places available every day, he couldn't even complete 3. He still owed Fang Shi 700,000 strode stones. He knew he was finished. He no longer has the ability to transform himself into a messenger of justice and uphold the fairness and justice of the sect's rules. The spiritual pillar that had supported him for a long time collapsed. He felt like a walking corpse and there seemed to be no meaning in living. After much thought, he decided to find Fang Shi to settle things. It's not that he's fighting for his life, he's here to pay back the money. After paying off the money, he resigned from the position of chief disciple of the law enforcement hall, concentrated on cultivation, and never thought about the sect rules again. Third brother, why do you seem to have gained weight? Is it because you have been having a good time recently? Rong Zheng. The whole sect is a dog licking, but the junior sister is a real dog. Chapter 1359, Junior sister, you are so mean. Rong Zheng was silent for a moment, then said. Junior sister, I'm here to pay the fine. Is it 700,000 strode stones in total? Fang Shi has been so busy these days, how can she care about these things? So, he called Zhang Wen from next door over. Zhang Wen was also shocked when he saw Rong Zheng, and thought, this Rong Lao San's psychological quality is not good. The little chick suffered such a big blow but he wasn't like this. It won't work if you haven't experienced wind and rain. People like him, whose sword is known all over the world, have excellent psychological quality. He quickly calculated the fine, and it was the same as Rong Zheng said, 700,000 strode stones. After paying the fine, Rong Zheng said weakly, Junior sister, I have been feeling unwell lately and can't continue my duties at the law enforcement hall. Please help me quit. Fang's eyes face darkened. Third senior brother, this job can't just be quit. If everyone is like you, wouldn't the sect be in chaos? You are familiar with the sect rules, do I need to explain this to you? Rong Zheng. The boomerang heard so much. But Zhang Wen was still chiming in. Yes, third brother, you represent not only yourself, but also the 5 of us brothers and sisters, our master, Xuanshan sect and the Northern Territory. You can't give up halfway. If you don't have enough money, you can write an IOU. Rong Zheng. Fang Shi echoed, yes, third senior brother, I am the Phoenix ancestor now, I must lead by example, otherwise where is my prestige? So, you better grit your teeth and persevere. Our military order says it will last for 1 year, and it will be up soon. Rong Zheng. Half a month has been so hard, and you want me to endure it for a year? But he couldn't say anything. After all, no one forced him to do so. He signed the military order voluntarily. He could only smile bitterly and turned away. Zhang Wen stretched his neck to look, and when he saw him walking away, he said to Fang Shi, Junior sister, are we too harsh? Will Rong Lao San be in trouble? Fang Shi said calmly, 5th senior brother, why do you think 3rd senior brother likes the sect rules so much? Zhang Wen curled his lips, because he can play a trick on me. You don't know, he has used the sect rules to punish me many times before. Thinking of the suffering he had suffered from Rong Zheng before, he immediately threw all his sympathy away. Fang Shi said, he has low self-esteem and found that he could use the sect rules to prove his existence and sense of superiority, so he got caught up in it and couldn't extricate himself. If he is not given strong medicine this time, his illness will not be cured. After listening to this, Zhang Wen pondered for a while before saying, I don't understand. I really don't understand, because I have never been unconfident. Fang Shi. Her 5th senior brother does have this advantage. No matter who he faces, he can always find the areas where he is stronger than the other person. For example, when talking to her, he would talk about the sword's power. After talking about Rong Zheng, Zhang Wen asked Fang Shi, Junior sister, I think that old guy Jiting is a stubborn old man. What are you going to do? You can't always send someone to watch him, right? Fang Shi sighed, I am also worried about this matter. How can we make him willingly work for us? Zhang Wen, it's difficult. Anyway, you have already covered the spiritual mark, so why not just search the soul directly? Fang Shi shook his head. 5th brother, soul searching is a one-time thing, and the information that can be obtained is also fixed, so this is the worst option. If he could make Jiting obedient, he would be able to achieve great value. For example, I can deliberately open a soul projection channel, and then let him send a message to the Tiank League, trick the people of the Tiank League down, and then we can sit back and wait. Teleport over here and kill them one by one. Teleport over here and kill them all. One shot is accurate. You say, isn't this more useful than soul searching? Zhang Wen was stunned when he heard this. After a while, he raised his thumb and said, Junior sister, you are really mean. There is no one like you before and there will be no one like you after. Fang Shi, okay, stop praising me, and think about how to make Jiting obedient. Zhang Wen thought hard for a long time but couldn't come up with any solution. Seeing this, Fang Shi said, I'll ask the senior brothers to come over as well. Maybe they can come up with a good idea. Zhang Wen was very unhappy, but he couldn't stop it. He hated his brain for not being able to cope with the task. I missed such a good opportunity to show off. After Jiang Ji and the others arrived, Fang Shi first told them about Rong Zheng. Jiang Ji was somewhat worried. Junior sister, why don't we send someone to keep an eye on it to make sure nothing else happens? Pei Zhou waved his fan and said, Big brother, your worry is unnecessary. If Rong Lao-san can't even get over this hurdle, he is such a waste. When Lao Si and I first learned about our origins, weren't we more devastated than him? And didn't we get through it too? Jiang Ji thought about it and it was true. There are some things that others can't help with, and you have to stand up on your own. At this time, Fang Shi told them about Jiting's situation and asked them to help find a solution. Jiang Ji is an honest man, and generally you can't rely on him for such things. He is just here to make up the numbers. Pei Zhou's eyes rolled around, and after thinking for a while, he said, Junior sister, how about trying the self-torture trick? Can you help him block the sword or something? Fang Shi. Not to mention how old-fashioned your trick is, the key point is that Jiting is not a grateful person. It's almost like repaying kindness with evil. Pei Zhou also knew that his method was a little unreliable, so he took out his fan and shook it awkwardly a few times. Junior sister, I'm not trying to discourage you, but Jiting is from Tiang continent, and his real body is still in Tiang continent. How could he possibly work for us? At this time, Jing Yan said in a low voice. He will not surrender if he has a way out, but what if he has no way out? Fang's eyes heart moved. Fourth senior brother, what do you mean? Jing Yan said, since the leader of Tiang League would mark his subordinates with spiritual awareness, it shows that he is very suspicious. Jiting not only failed to achieve anything this time, but was also captured by us. Even if he said nothing, would their leader believe him? If the other party knew that you had left a spiritual mark on Jiting, even if it was only the part of soul projection, would the suspicious leader still use Jiting? No matter from which perspective, Jiting has become a discarded pawn. Junior sister, you can start from this aspect and see if you can convince Jiting to work for you. Fang Shi's eyes lit up. Fourth senior brother, you are right. We must make Jiting realize that he has become a discarded pawn and has no way out. Only then will he be able to submit to us. Fourth brother, you are so awesome. Fang Shi said this and gave Jingyan a thumbs up. Jiang Ji also smiled and said, Fourth junior brother has always been smart, but he doesn't like to talk much on weekdays. This time when he came here, I found that fourth junior brother is much more cheerful than before. Jingyan smiled for the first time. Junior sister, senior brother, you are too kind. I just say whatever I think. If I can help, it would be the best. Pei Zhou also came over and praised Jingyan a few words. He used to have a headache with this fourth junior brother, fearing that he would say something wrong and get stuck in a dead end. Now it looks much more normal. She has to be the junior sister. No matter what weird thing happens, it can be restored to normal when it comes to her. Zhang Wen also praised him against his will, and felt so jealous that he could make sauerkraut. He decided to start reading military books and strategies when he got home tonight. He was even proficient in sword formations, so the simple art of war would certainly be no problem for him. Please call him General Zhang from now on. The whole sect is a dog licking, but the junior sister is a real dog. Chapter 1360. Fang Shi is extremely disappointed with the Bird Alliance. Fang Shi chatted with Jiang Ji and the others for a while, and then prepared to meet Jiting. As soon as she left the yard, Zhang Wen caught up with her. Junior sister, I suddenly remembered something. You said Jiting was sent down, and the Tiang League must have promised him benefits. If you give him more, do you think he will be tempted? Fang's eyes heart moved. Fifth brother, your suggestion is good, I will try it later. Even if he is not interested, I can make him upset. Zhang Wen. Upset. How annoying. So, he insisted on following Fang Shi to see Jiting. Fang Shi had no choice but to take him with her. Looking at their backs, Pei Zhou waved his fan. TSK, old 5 and junior sister still the closest. Jiang Ji frowned. Second junior brother, don't say such things in the future, so as not to affect the relationship between the brothers and sisters. Jing Yan also said calmly, second brother, even your fingers are of different lengths, let alone your fellow disciples. Fifth junior brother has been through life and death with junior sister many times, so it is normal for junior sister to be closer to him than to us. Pei Zhou, I was just joking, look at you two trying to teach me a lesson. My junior sister risked her life to help me solve the problem of my identity as a member of the Yan clan. If I had any objection just because she was close to Lao Wu, I would be a complete jerk. What I want to say is that we have to work harder and not let the fifth one steal the limelight, making the four of us look like gifts. You two are so narrow-minded. Go back and reflect on this. Jiang Ji. Jing Yan. Fang Shi and Zhang Wen naturally didn't know about the conversation between Jiang Ji and the other two. They had already arrived at Elder Bai's courtyard. Elder Bai is different from Elder Yin. He doesn't want to live in a cave. He has been practicing for so many years not to suffer. He never does stupid things like trying to endure hardship. In addition to Elder Bai, Elder Bo, the Supreme Elder, was also there to help him keep an eye on Jiting to prevent him from committing suicide. Seeing Fang Shi coming in, Elder Bai and Elder Bo hurriedly saluted. Ancestor Fang, you are here. Jiting, who was lying on the ground pretending to be dead, realized the big problem belatedly. Why did they call Fang Shi a pervert, Fang Zhu? And it seemed like she was the head of the family. Isn't she just a girl? Why would these people listen to her? When he was wondering, Fang Shi said, my slave, why don't you come and greet your master? Jiting glared at Fang Shi. If you call me that again, I'll die in front of you. Fang Shi said with a sigh, you have a pretty fierce temper. I like your tone. Jiting. Pervert, this is a pervert. Not to mention him, even Elder Bo felt that Fang Shi looked like the evil young man whom Not to mention him, even Elder Bo felt that Feng Shi looked like the evil young man who molested the girls. Jiang Wen and Elder Bai didn't have any thoughts because they were used to it. Feng Shi pulled over a chair and sat down, then said to Ji Ting with a smile. Then what should I call you? Just calling you by your name. That doesn't seem appropriate. What if your Tiank League spies hear it and report it to the higher-ups? How are you going to live your life in the future? Jiang Wen said, Junior sister, you are so kind that you actually consider these things for him. Feng Shi sighed. After all, he is my first Tiank slave, so of course I have to treat him well. Ji Ting, you make me sick. But he thought for a long time but couldn't come up with a suitable name. Finally, Feng Shi said, your arrival is a timely rain for our Juyu continent. From now on, I will call you the timely rain. Ji Ting, you curse people without using any dirty words. But after all, Ji Shiyu was much better than some little slave or chicken, so he just accepted it. Feng Shi pointed for a chair nearby and said, Xiaoyu, sit down and talk. Ji Ting. I'm old, and you call me Xiaoyu. However, when he saw Elder Bai and Elder Bo standing with their hands hanging down, he snorted coldly and sat down. Feng Shi asked with a smile, Xiaoyu, did you sleep well last night? Did you dream about your leader? Ji Ting gritted his teeth and said, just ask whatever you want to ask, don't beat around the bush here. Feng Shi sighed, Xiaoyu, you are too impatient. But it is also true, if you were not so impatient, our master and servant would not have met so early, this is all destined by fate. Ji Ting, it's a bad fate. Xiaoyu, you said your leader is so suspicious. If he knew that not only was you captured by me, but I also branded you with my spiritual consciousness, what would he think and what would he do? Ji Ting was stunned at first, and then his face turned a little ugly. Their leader is suspicious by nature. If he really knew all this, I'm afraid he would have a hard time being reused in the future. At this time, Feng Shi clapped his hands and said, I have a good idea. Kill him and silence him. Ji Ting, when you go crazy, do you even want to kill yourself? The next moment I heard Feng Shi say, I'll help you defeat the leader of the Bird Alliance, and I'll take his place. From now on, you'll be a loyal follower of the dragon. Isn't that better than being a discarded pawn? Ji Ting, you are crazier than I thought. You were just an ant from the 9 Nether continent, and you actually threatened to kill our leader. You are really like an ant trying to shake a tree, overestimating your own capabilities. He snorted coldly, don't waste your time. I would rather let you search my soul than betray the Tiank League, let alone our leader. Feng Shi said with a sigh, I didn't expect you to be so loyal. Okay, I won't force you anymore. Think about it carefully when you can't sleep at night. Let's talk about something unimportant. Although you are a little stupid, you won't do anything that is thankless. The reason you came to the Juyu continent must be that the Tiank League must have promised you a lot of benefits, right? Tell me, let me learn something new. Ji Ting felt it necessary to make these ants realize the huge gap between them and the Tiank League, so he said proudly. 1 billion spirit stones, 10 heavenly grade elixirs, and 10 heavenly grade talismans. He didn't mention the beast core because he was afraid that Feng Shi would ask about it. After all, everything related to the chain of time was top secret and must not be known to the people of Juyu continent. Besides, he felt that what he said was enough to shock Feng Shi and the others. As expected, Feng Zai's eyes widened in surprise, and Jiang Wen and the other two also had extremely shocked expressions. Ji Ting couldn't help but sneer in his heart. They were indeed a bunch of bumpkins who had never seen the world. After a long while, Feng Shi asked, anything else? Is that all? Ji Ting, what do you mean? Are these not enough? Feng Shi fell silent again. She was extremely disappointed with Bird Alliance. Extremely disappointed, 10,000 times disappointed. Ji Ting is an imperial envoy after all, and he took such a big risk, but in the end he only got this little thing. She felt so heartbroken. She thought the Bird Alliance was rich and was planning to wipe them out in the future, but they turned out to be so poor. This makes her feel so embarrassed. The whole sect is a dog licking, but the junior sister is a real dog. Chapter 1361 Ji Ting's mental journey. Elder Bai consoled him, Ancestor Feng, although the talismans and elixirs are indeed pitifully few, 1 billion spirit stones are actually not that bad. Don't worry, the Bird Alliance is probably not as poor as we thought. Feng Shi sighed, you are right. 1 billion is not a small amount. Even a mosquito leg is still meat. Ji Ting felt unwell. What are these people talking about? Why can't he understand? Do they think that the conditions offered by protectors are too low? Is the 9 Nether continent so wealthy? No, absolutely impossible. Even if they have spirit stones, heavenly grade talismans and heavenly grade elixirs are rare treasures that they can only come across by chance. Ah, he knows. These ants thought that the elixirs on Tiank continent were the same as those here, so they thought that heavenly grade elixirs were nothing special. Snort. The elixirs from Tiank continent are different from those from Juyu continent. They lack spiritual energy here, and the pills they refine, even if they're heaven grade pills, are not as good as the yellow grade pills. The same goes for talismans. Thinking of this, his sense of superiority came back to life again. You frogs in the well can only see the big sky. The elixirs and talismans of our Tiank League are much better than yours. Feng Shi asked suspiciously, really? I see those pills in your storage ring aren't that great. Yesterday she wanted to feed 5 dogs spiritual roots, but they all hated them, so she had to give up. Ji Ting snorted coldly, what do you know? Those are just Chuan level elixirs. According to his original plan, he would be able to successfully infiltrate the 4 major families as soon as he arrived at the Juyu continent. Naturally, he would not have to worry about elixirs and talismans, and there was no need to bring 2 good ones. Of course, there was another key reason. He felt that it was a waste to use good elixirs on soul projection, so he only brought some Xuan level elixirs. Before Feng Shi could speak, Ji Ting raised his voice. You said my pills were not very good, so why did you keep them for yourself? You were just saying one thing and thinking another. You may say you dislike it, but you actually treat it as a treasure and you are reluctant to eat it, right? Feng Shi. She silently took out a pot of top-grade heavenly medicine from her storage ring and placed it on the coffee table. Xiaoyu, you are right. I have never seen any good things. I can only eat these broken pills as candy balls on weekdays. Ji Ting's psychological journey is as follows. TSK, what good things can a mere ant like you come up with? Ha, why is there such a strong medicinal fragrance all of a sudden? It's actually emitted from these pills. Why are there golden lines on it? Golden lines. This is a top-grade elixir. 1. A pot of top-grade medicinal pill. He was sitting at first, then he stood, and then he knelt on the ground. It's not that he wanted to kneel down to Fengxi, but because the coffee table was relatively low, he had to kneel down to see more clearly. As for why he didn't pick up the basin and look at it, he didn't even think about it. He was so shocked. In Tiang continent, high-quality elixirs are all good things, let alone top-quality elixirs. It cannot be said that it does not exist, but it is definitely a rare thing. But how could he not be shocked when Fengxi just casually took out a pot? However, he quickly comforted himself that this was the Juyu continent after all, where spiritual energy was scarce, and even if it was a top-grade heavenly elixir, its efficacy would certainly not be very good. But this time, Fengxi picked up a pill and said, "Here, this is a pill for repairing spiritual consciousness. Take one and see how it works." Ji Ting picked it up and swallowed it immediately. He was not afraid at all that Fengxi would poison him now. He had been branded by the divine consciousness, so it didn't matter whether it was poisonous or not. As soon as the pill entered his stomach, he felt a slight warmth rising in his sea of consciousness. He was originally kneeling, but now he slumped down on the ground. Because he found that the pill he swallowed could be comparable to the lower-grade heavenly pills in their Tiang continent. Although it is of low quality, but the quantity is large. Looking at the large basin of top-grade elixirs, and thinking about how he had come down to suffer humiliation just for a mere 10 heavenly grade elixirs, he felt more and more like a joke. Do not. He can't be defeated so easily. He wants to clear the name of the Tiang League and clear his own name. So he sneered. Even if heaven-grade elixirs are not rare, what about heaven-grade talismans? Aren't 10 heaven-grade talismans valuable enough? When he finished speaking, he saw Fengxi looking at him with extremely sympathetic eyes. He thought Fengxi might have gone crazy again, otherwise why would she look at him like that? The next moment, Fengxi took out a large sack from his storage ring, casually pulled out a stack of talismans and shook them. Precious. Can't you draw this stuff with your hands? Ji Ting looked at the talisman in Fengxi's hand in disbelief, reached out to grab it, looked at it for a while, then choked and fainted. Fengxi. The quality of this semi-finished product of soul projection is not very good. Zhang Wen said at the side, "Junior sister, he risked his life for 10 heaven-grade talismans, and you just took out a sack, what a blow he must have been. It's just that his physical fitness is okay, otherwise he would not only faint, but he would have vomited blood out of anger." Fengxi looked innocent. He can't handle just one sack. I have more than a dozen sacks in my storage ring. Ji Ting, who just woke up. His inherent ideas were completely overturned. For a long time, the people around him and his ancestors have told him one thing, that the ants in the Juyu continent are all wastes that can be sorted at will. The results of it. He was caught as soon as he arrived. The heavenly grade elixir that they treated as a treasure was put in a basin by Fengxi. Even the heavenly grade talismans were packed in sacks. Who is the ant after all? Who is the useless one who can be bullied at will? Do not. This is impossible. There must be something wrong. Ah, he knows. These pills and talismans must have been looted by Fengxi from all over the Juyu continent, collecting them by the pieces. After figuring it out, he sneered and said, "You must have spent a lot of effort to collect these, right? I guess you have plundered your 9 nether continent clean, right?" Fengxi. She was too lazy to waste words and just took out a stack of blank talisman paper and started drawing with both hands at the same time. In less than half a quarter of an hour, 2 heavenly level talismans were completed. That's not all, she also took out a seal and released a small slap of spiritual power. The little slap started the assembly line operation. Ji Ting was completely torn apart. He even slapped himself. Because he felt like he was hallucinating. But Fengxi still said in a sly tone, "Xiaoyu, you said you sold yourself just for 10 pieces of this. You are so worthless. But then again, the Tiang League is also quite bullying. What's the difference between giving you the little thing and sending away a beggar? You're worse than a beggar, because a beggar won't be marked by spiritual awareness." Ellipsis. Ji Ting could no longer bear this blow and spat out a mouthful of blood. Fengxi hurriedly took out an empty basin. "Spit it in here, I'll use it to make talisman ink." Ji Ting. Isn't the ink used for talismans made of animal blood? You curse people without using any dirty words. The whole sect is a dog licking, but the junior sister is a real dog. Chapter 1342. A gentleman talks but doesn't do anything. Ji Ting covered his chest and stared at Fengxi. "Fengxi, don't go too far." Fengxi looked innocent. "How did I bully you? I bullied you just because I told you a few truths. Is your psychological endurance too poor? No wonder the Tiang League is only willing to give you this little bit of stuff. It seems like you're only worth this little bit of stuff." Ji Ting, killing people is like destroying their hearts. Killing people is like destroying their hearts. He could no longer bear this kind of stimulation and fainted again. Fengxi was silent for a moment, and said with a look of disdain, "Can't the Tiang League send someone more powerful as a spy? They send a loser." Ji Ting, who had just woken up, almost vomited blood again. At this moment, he felt that the invasion of the Tiang Alliance might end in failure. Not to mention anything else, Feng Zai's broken mouth could destroy 30% of their combat effectiveness. So annoying. I'm specifically poking at your sore spots. Fengxi saw that he had woken up and gave him a handful of top-grade elixirs. "Here, eat some candy balls to replenish your body." Ji Ting was overwhelmed with sadness when he saw the pills Fengxi handed over. He had worked so hard to exchange for 10 heavenly grade pills, but after being captured, he ate the heavenly grade pills like candy balls. Is there anything more ironic than this? After he swallowed the pill, Fang Shi took a stack of talismans and sighed. Although I can draw heaven-level talismans, my little palm can only make earth-level talismans. Don't you think I'm useless? In your Tiang continent, someone like me is considered trash, right? Ji Ting. Don't want to talk to you. Fang Shi looked at him and said, "COU, I can give you several times the amount of what the Bird Alliance gave you. Would you like to consider surrendering?" Ji Ting snorted coldly. "Even if you multiply your power 10,000 times, you can't make me surrender." Fang Shi was happy when she heard him say that. "Xiaoyu, I like your rebellious look, you must keep it, otherwise I will be disappointed. Let's change the topic. I'm wondering, why are you in the Tiank League so poor? How do you spend your days? I am so worried about you guys." Ji Ting. "What do you know? The spiritual energy in our Tiank continent is much richer than that in your Jiu continent, and the medicinal properties of the herbs are also stronger. The difficulty of refining is naturally much greater than that here. As for the talismans, although the talismans you drew are also heavenly grade talismans, their power cannot be compared at all. Not to mention the Strit stones, our Tiank League alone has hundreds of Strit stone mines." Fang Shi. She got it. It's not that the Tiank Alliance is poor, but that they are begging for food while sitting on a mountain of gold. They have plenty of resources, but very few skilled alchemists and talisman makers, so Ji Ting looks like a petty person who has never seen the world. Fang Shi was very confused. Judging from the information she got from the ancient battlefield illusion, the Tiank Alliance was not like this at that time. She and Zhang Wen also took the elixir that can enhance their cultivation. Not only did they eat it, they also packed some for Xiao Beidao, Jiang Ji and the others. Besides, the Tiank Alliance could even create the chain of time, so it would not be impossible for them to train a few high-level alchemists and talisman makers. There must be something wrong here. Fang Shi was thinking while listening to Ji Ting's boasting. When he finished, she asked, "Since your Tiank continent is so rich, why do you want to invade our Jiu continent?" Ji Ting paused, then sneered. "Because you ants are not qualified to enjoy the 9 nether continent alone." Fang Shi glanced at Zhang Wen. Zhang Wen went up and gave Ji Ting 2 slaps in the face. "We don't have the qualifications. You, the Bird Alliance, have the qualifications. How shameless." Fang Shi waved her hand. "Fifth brother, a gentleman should use his mouth instead of his fists. What are you doing?" Zhang Wen said confidently, "My name is Zhang Wen, not Junzi." Ji Ting. Fang Shi curled her lips. "It can be seen that you have a sense of superiority, and the people in your Tiank League should be similar to you. So the question is, your Tiank League is so powerful, why did you fail in the first place?" Ji Ting snorted coldly, "It's just bad luck." Fang Shi looked at him. "Bad luck. That's just an excuse losers make for themselves. If you lose, you lose. It's no use finding 100 excuses. The reason you lose is because you are the aggressor. Even if you have the upper hand for a while, you will eventually roll back with your tail between your legs. Take you for example, the moment you set foot on the Jiu continent, you were destined to become a prisoner, because you are not used to the local climate. Ji Ting, you don't care whether I obey or not, I will never betray the Tiank League, nor will I betray our leader." Fang Shi saw that he was determined and knew that it was useless to persuade him any further. But this is normal. The spies carefully selected by the Tiank Alliance cannot be easily turned against. She had to find another way out. So she started chatting with Ji Ting. "Forget it, since you don't want to, I won't force you. Let's talk about something exciting." Ji Ting, this pervert doesn't want to talk about sex, does he? Ji Ting suddenly felt very insecure. Fortunately, Fang Shi's next sentence is, "Let's talk about food, shall we? Do you have a lot of delicious food in Tiank continent?" Ji Ting breathed a sigh of relief and was quite cooperative this time, introducing some delicious food from the Tiank continent. After listening to him, Fang Shi started talking to him about other things, such as weddings, funerals, local customs and so on. Ji Ting knew that there was nothing secretive involved, so he cooperated. At the end of the conversation, Fang Shi sighed. "Xiaoyu, I find that you're actually a pretty good person. Unfortunately, my position dictates that I have to be tougher on you. If you want to blame someone, blame your Tiank Alliance for having the idea of invading our Jiu continent. Of course, you are just a small chess piece, you have no choice, I can understand that." Ji Ting said nothing. He suddenly felt that the pervert in front of him was not so hateful. How could he know that someone had secretly added countless layers of saintly light to him, which was so bright that it was almost blinding? Fang Shi knew that he couldn't rush things, so he stood up and said, "Okay, I still have a lot of things to do, let's talk about it another day." She picked up the basin that was filled with top-grade elixirs, grabbed a handful of elixirs and gave them to Elder Bo, grabbed another handful to Elder Bai, and gave the rest to Zhang Wen. Zhang Wen couldn't close his mouth. He knew that good things would happen if he followed his junior sister. He's not bragging, the pills in his storage ring are enough for him to eat for 8 lifetimes. The whole sect is a dog licking, but the junior sister is a real dog. Chapter 1343, Are You a Human? Fang Shi and Zhang Wen walked out of Elder Bai's yard and went back. Halfway through the journey, Zhang Wen said to Fang Shi, "Junior sister, Huaiming Zhen just sent me a message saying that Rong Lao San was punished again. This time he was imprisoned for 2 days. Fang Shi raised an eyebrow. What is the charge this time? I heard that he didn't use honorifics when talking to Master Zhao. Fang Shi. The business level of the law enforcement hall has skyrocketed. After Fang Shi returned to the yard, he began to sigh. Zhu Xuan thought she was upset because of Ji Ting's matter, and said, "I've already told you that the main body of that chicken cub is in Tiank continent. It's useless for you to waste your saliva. You might as well search its soul as soon as possible. Grandpa, even though he is stubborn now, I will be able to control him sooner or later. I'm upset because of the issue of the martial arts. Whether it is spiritual energy or demonic energy, they are all derived from the chaotic energy. In principle, all the cultivation methods are actually the same, and it is completely feasible to combine them together. Why can't I think of a specific way to do it? Zhu Shihuan, it's been so many days, and you still haven't given up. You might as well practice sword skills. Look at you. You still haven't figured out the sword moves. You're not as good as Zheng Wen, that fool. Fang Shi said nonchalantly, every man has his own strengths and weaknesses. If I am a genius in all aspects, how can other people survive? Besides, even though I haven't mastered the sword's power, my swordsmanship isn't bad. I can even kneel down when I'm convulsed. I think if I can develop a new set of skills, it will definitely be much more useful than comprehending sword moves or something like that. Zhu Shihuan snorted coldly, then go ahead and study. I'm waiting for your peerless skills. Fang Shi knew that Zhu Xuan was speaking sarcastically, but she didn't care. She really thought that her idea was feasible and there was only a thin layer of window paper between them. As long as she works harder, she will be able to find the way. As she was thinking about it, she saw the old skeleton sneaking in from outside. No need to ask, he must have gone to the fish pond to catch fish again. These past few days, Qinli has become thinner. How can I not lose weight if I am chased by an old skeleton every day? Fang Shi even discovered that the fins of the red smoke carp had become larger, and they must have been so anxious to grow wings and fly. Fang Shi's heart suddenly moved when he saw the old skeleton. She thought about what happened in the Wangu Xianzong before. At first, she needed to transform spiritual energy into blood energy in order to cultivate the power of nirvana. Later, she only needed to pour the spiritual energy into the holes in her finger bones. What does this mean? This shows that the techniques of nirvana and spiritual cultivation must be compatible. What is this common key? At this time, the 5 dog spread roots in Danshan all made a heart shake to her. Fang Shi. Is there something wrong? I'm upset. Why are you guys upset? Want to eat again? Haven't you had enough after eating so many medicinal herbs in Wangu Xianzong before? Not afraid of dying of stuffiness. However, she soon realized that the 5 dog spread roots meant that they were the key. Just when she was about to think about it carefully, Elder Mei, who was guarding Qiongqi, sent her a message saying that Qiongqi wanted to see her. Fang Shi thought, I am busy now, how can I have time to see that idiot? She was about to refuse, but the golden pig said, Master, Qiongqi must have a big secret. You must sign a contract with him immediately to avoid any accidents. Tao Wu also chimed in, that's right, Qiongqi is the most insidious and cunning. It said before that it would give you all its belongings, but it must have been lying. It must have more good things. Fang Shi immediately changed his mind. You are right, it is so pitiful that it is trapped alone in the barrier. I will rescue it right now. Golden Pig. Tao Wu. In fact, the reason why these two guys urged Fang Shi to go see Qiongqi was only because of a very simple wish. They were both caught in the rain and they were determined to tear up Qiongqi's umbrella. Fang Shi hurried to the back mountain of Wudao Peak. From a distance, I could hear Qiongqi shouting at the top of his lungs. Xiao Shishi, you're finally here. I missed you so much. You're always in my dreams. Fang Shi ignored it and exchanged a few words with Elder Mei who was guarding Qiongqi. Then he looked at Qiongqi. What do you want me to do? Are you ready to fulfill the bet? Before, Qiongqi made a bet with Fang Shi that if she could become the sect leader or a position more powerful than the sect leader, it would sign a contract with Fang Shi. Qiongqi said flatteringly. Although you are only the Peak Master now, you are the disciple of that sect guardian elder, and your seniority is the same as Sima Qinghong, so I lose this bet. In fact, even if there was no bet, I would have wanted to throw myself into your warm embrace a long time ago. Fang Shi. No wonder you live the most comfortable life among the 4 fierce beasts. You are so shameless. Fang Shi did not immediately sign a contract with Qiongqi, but said to Elder Mei, please tell Sect Master Sima about it. If he has no objection, I will sign a contract with Qiongqi. Elder Mei, okay. Naturally, Sect Leader Sima would not object, but he suggested that he come over to witness it with his own eyes. After a while, not only Sect Master Sima came, but also the 4 Supreme Elders and Elder Yin. A ban was also issued, prohibiting others from approaching the back mountain of Wudao Peak. Qiongqi's big eyes rolled around. It had noticed before that the attitude of Sima Zongzhu and others towards Fang Shi was not right. They seemed to be very afraid of her. To be more precise, they were in awe of her. Looking at it now, it is indeed the case. It seems that it made the right move. At this time, Elder Mei opened the barrier, and Qiongqi fluttered its wings and ran out like a big moth. Xiao Shishi, come and sign a contract with me. I can't wait to be your little cutie. Fang Shi. She immediately signed a contract with Qiongqi. Just after signing, Fang Shi noticed dark clouds coming from a distance. Dark cloud dove. Fang Shi slapped his thigh and said, oh no, this dark cloud must have been brought by the vicious beast Qiongqi. If I had known this, I would not have made a contract with it. Qiongqi. You are so mean. Don't you know who this thing is aimed at? I am definitely not a human, but whether you are a human is also debatable. Qiongqi thought so in his heart, but he drooped his wings and said with a guilty look. Oh, my dear lord, this is really my fault. I'm sorry, I'm willing to spend the rest of my life to make it up to you. Do not. Not only in this life, but also in the next life, and the life after that, I will follow you. I want to be your little cutie for the rest of my life. Elder Mei got goosebumps all over his body. Could it be that this Qiongqi was possessed by some filthy creature? Why is it so disgusting? Although Fang Shi also felt that Qiongqi's acting was a bit greasy, at least it took the blame for attracting the thunder, so he was still very satisfied. She said immediately, the thunder is very serious, it might destroy our Changsheng sect's protective formation. I will lead the thunder away now. Elder Yin wanted to dissuade Fang Shi, but before he could say anything, Sect Master Sima sent him a secret message. Uncle Master, Fang Zhu must have a deeper meaning behind this action, so you'd better not stop him. While Elder Yin was stunned, Feng Shi had already run far away. Elder Yin immediately gnashed his teeth and said to Sect Master Sima, Sima, if anything happens to Xiaoxi, I will never forgive you. Sect Leader Sima. I haven't heard this affectionate name for a long time. Chapter 1364, Be a dog among dogs, then you can be a superior person. When Sect Master Sima was expressing his feelings, Elder Mei said with a moved expression. Master Feng Feng sacrificed himself to draw away the thunder for the sake of the sect. He is truly a role model for our generation. Sect Leader Sima. Although Feng Zhu is indeed responsible, the reason she led the thunder away this time was probably because she could perform better outside the sect. It was a bit regrettable to say, although Feng Zhu had told him about her heroic figure in fighting against the thunder, he had never seen it. The reason is very simple. The key is that no matter how strong his desire is, he dare not approach the minefield. Sect Leader Sima said a few words in coordination with Elder Mei. After all, among the people present, only Elder Mei did not know about Feng Zai's identity as the Phoenix ancestor. On the other side, Feng Shi ran to Elder Bai's yard and said anxiously. There's thunder outside. I'm worried it's coming for Xiaoyu. I'll try to lead it away right now. You protect Xiaoyu. Elder Bai said worriedly. Feng Zhu, do you really need to take this risk? If he dies, he dies. What if something happens to you? Feng Shi shook his head. He is now a projection of his soul. If he is struck by the thunderbolt, he will be completely destroyed. It may even affect his true body. He is my slave now after all, I have to protect him. Okay, time is running out, I have to leave immediately, you must protect him. After that, he said to Jiting, my slave, wait for me to come back. Without waiting for Jiting to say anything, Feng Shi ran away in a hurry. He came and went in a hurry, just like a whirlwind. Elder Bai looked at Feng's eyes receding back with concern, then glanced at Jiting who was somewhat stunned, and said coldly. You were so generous that you let our Phoenix ancestor help you block the thunder. Jiting recovered and gritted his teeth and said. Help me block the thunder. How do you know that the thunder is coming for me? Elder Bai sneered. If they're not coming for you, then are they coming for our Phoenix ancestor? Aren't you a lonely ghost from another world? Of course, it is not tolerated by the heavens. If the heavenly thunder doesn't strike you, who will it strike? Jiting stiffened his neck and said, impossible. When our Tiank League first conquered Juyu continent, how come so many people didn't get struck by lightning? Elder Bai glanced at him. Then was the then, and now is the now. Besides, how do you know they weren't struck by lightning? Maybe you lost because you were struck by lightning. Okay, I'm too lazy to talk nonsense with you. I just hope that our Feng Zhu is safe and sound. If anything happens to her, I won't care about the overall situation and will just search your soul. Jiting didn't say anything, but he looked very uneasy. Elder Bai felt amused in his heart. This move by Feng Zhu was really brilliant. Although most of the lines were provided by Feng Zhu, his on-the-spot performance was also excellent. If it was Yin Mutu, I probably wouldn't be able to remember a single line. As I said, Yin Mutu was lucky to have Feng Zhu as his disciple. At this time, Feng Shi had already run to the outside of the Changsheng Sect's mountain gate and took out a wooden sword. After jumping on it, he tied himself up. The movements are so skillful that it makes people feel distressed. The wooden sword immediately jumped up into the sky. Ooh-hoo. Master, let me sing a song for you to cheer you up. In your heart, flying freely, the brilliant stars roam forever. Feng Shi. This dog has a good memory. She hummed once by chance before and it remembered it. It's just a little, off tune. Not only was it out of tune, it was also off track. If she hadn't been tied up tightly, she would have been thrown away. The wooden sword kicked up and flew hundreds of miles in one breath. No matter if your posture is cool or not, no matter if it is stable or not, I just want to ask you whether it is fast or not. Feng Shi felt that it was about time, so he let the wooden sword fall to the ground. Wu Yunjue also arrived at this time. Feng Shi looked at Wu Yunjue in the air with a smile. Xiaojue, you're all right, aren't you? I haven't seen you for many days, I miss you so much. Last time, thanks to you for helping me kill so many enemies, thank you. The last time Feng Shi entered the Juyu transformation realm through the Wanfu refining heart cave, Wu Yunjue also followed him in. Because those trial disciples of Tiank League said the 4 words, the cuckoo takes over the magpie's nest, Wu Yunjue's fragile little heart couldn't bear it and he attacked them. I got lost after splitting the sword. If Feng Shi hadn't been so kind as to ask Dashitu to release it, it would probably have run away to Tiank continent. Wu Yunjue still doesn't know the truth of the matter. It only knows that the punishment it received after returning last time was more severe than any other time. It blamed all of this on Feng Shi. When enemies meet at this time, they're extremely jealous of each other. Seeing that Feng Shi was talking about something that was not relevant to him, it got so angry that it chopped down at Feng Shi. Feng Shi took out the Faraday cage and got in without any hurry. Jue, just chop as much as you want. Take a break when you get tired, don't tire yourself out. With this cheating artifact, it would be useless even if Wu Yunjue spent a whole day and night to chop. Sure enough, technology changes life. But what surprised her was that Wu Yunjue stopped chopping. Ha! Did he give up in the face of difficulty? While she was wondering, Wu Yunjue began to chop the ground around the cage. Feng Shi immediately guessed its intention. It wanted to collapse the ground and bury her alive. After not seeing her for a few days, Wu Yunjue has changed from a naive and innocent person to a black-hearted person. When she was thinking about what to do, the voice of Zhu Shihuan rang out in her consciousness. It's not a good idea for you to keep hiding. It won't be long before the Tiank League launches a general attack. It's time for you to improve your cultivation. It has been such a long time since I tried to break the pill and become an infant, but there is still no result. I guess I am just one step away from success. If you get struck by lightning a few times, maybe it will work. Go ahead and be struck by lightning. Grandpa supports you spiritually. Fang Shi. You really are my grandpa. However, she felt that what Zhu Xuan said made sense. She had been showing off a lot recently, but her cultivation had not made any progress. It was really time for her to use some ruthless tactics. So she put the cage away, pointed at Wu Yunjue and said, "You are blind, you can't even hit me. Why don't you hit me? If I dodge, I will be a dog." When Wu Yunjue heard this, he was delighted. Not hiding. Very good, I will chop you to death. It immediately called upon the power of thunder and lightning in its body, gathered it into a bolt of lightning as thick as a millstone and struck towards Fang Shi. Seeing that the thunder was about to come, Fang Shi ran away. Wang wang wang, wang wang wang. As long as I can survive, what does it matter if I'm a dog? Only by being a dog among dogs can you become a superior person. The whole sect is a dog licking, but the junior sister is a real dog. Chapter 1365 let you see what Tuti's might is. Wu Yunjue was almost angry to death. Fortunately, although part of the thunder struck the ground, most of the power of thunder and lightning is still there. Wu Yunjue then commanded the heavenly thunder to chase Fang Shi from behind. As Fang Shi ran, he set the thunder in the Xiangyun hairpin. You absorbed the lightning behind you. Fang Shi felt that Jilei now also had a cloud core, and his strength must have increased a lot. Even if he can compete with Wu Yunjue, he could at least hold on for a while. As a result, Jilei did not move, and it expressed its powerlessness with emotions. Fang Shi now had a clearer understanding of its strength. Even if it turned green and turned into a beam of light, it was still a useless thing. Just call me Kai Lei from now on. Jilei felt very wronged. As a young cloud that had just merged with a cloud core, it was already very good to have the current strength, okay. Feng Bu is so ungrateful. At this time, Mu Jian said in a mean way, Master, if the pig head swallows the spirit stone, it will explode. Why don't you let it swallow the thunder and see? If it succeeds, it will be a thunderbolt. A line of lyrics suddenly rang in Fang Shi's mind. Thunder, thunder, reform the economy with a sledgehammer. Fang Shi quickly pulled his thoughts back to normal and said to Jin Zhu, come out and swallow the thunderbolt. Golden pig. Although I am a glutton and I eat everything, isn't it a bit too much to ask me to eat thunder from heaven? Under normal circumstances, it might have negotiated conditions, but Fang Shi's actions last time deeply moved it, so it flew out without hesitation. It opened its mouth wide and bit towards the thunder behind Fang Shi. You know what, he actually swallowed it. But before it exploded, it turned into ashes. The consolation is that some of the power of thunder and lightning was consumed to a certain extent. Qiongqi and Mujian are playing together. A pighead is a pighead. It has no brains at all. It asked you to swallow it but didn't ask you to swallow it all. It doesn't know if it's not raining. It doesn't know what size pants you should wear. That's right, can't you just swallow less? No wonder you showed off so much in the beginning, and now you have a greedy mind. You can never get enough of eating, and you can't do anything well. In the final analysis, it's just too useless. Our master treats it like a treasure, but in the end it's useless at the critical moment. It might as well find a piece of tofu and hit itself to death. Ellipsis. The golden pig was so angry that he almost exploded. Mu Jian is annoying enough, and now here comes Qiongqi. Each one is more mean-spirited than the other. I won't steam buns today to save face, but to show you the power of a glutton. It didn't even need Fang Shi to greet it and just jumped out. With a grunt, he bit off a piece of the thunder. Then the body swelled up like a ball. When Fang Shi saw this, he ran away. She had seen the power of the golden pig's explosion. If she didn't run away quickly, she would be in trouble soon. She knows, but Wu Yunjue doesn't. Seeing the golden pig being so rampant, it lowered its altitude and wanted to give the golden pig a blow. Just as it had just lowered its altitude, there was a loud bang. The golden pig exploded. Not only did the power of heavenly thunder that it swallowed explode, but the remaining power of heavenly thunder also exploded. The dark cloud was blown away by the huge impact force. Fang Shi, who had already run far away, said with a smile. Jue, you are quite fashionable. You even have your hair permed into curly hair. Wu Yunjue was almost going crazy. Chase Fang Shi and chop him. Fang Shi wanted the golden pig to come out and do this again, but unfortunately, the golden pig was in hibernation because he didn't know if it was full of energy. Mu Jian said in a sly voice, Master, even though the golden pig is asleep, isn't there still Qiongqi? It has wings, let it lead Wu Yunjue away. Qiongqi, is it a sin to have wings? Can't you fly? Why don't you get out? Weren't you very powerful when you stabbed me in the barrier before? You coward. Mu Jian, you are the coward, your whole family is a coward. Qiongqi, I'm sorry, I'm the only one in my family. Ellipsis. These two guys were arguing, and Fang Shi let them both out. You know what, these two guys really have a tacit understanding. One goes east, the other goes west, and they fly as fast as they can. All the afterimages are left. Wu Yunjue pretended not to see anything and just chased Fang Shi, who was running south. Fang Shi. For a moment, she didn't know whether to complain about Wu Yunjue's persistence or the unreliability of those two idiots. But there is a grandfather in the spiritual consciousness who is trying to kill him. Why are you running? Hurry up and get hit. There will be no such shop after this village. Fang Shi. However, the thunder struck by Wu Yunjue this time is indeed not as strong as before, so you can give it a try. So she stopped running. With his hands on his hips, he waited for Wu Yunjue. Wu Yunjue was stunned. Why didn't this pervert run away? There must be a conspiracy. A big conspiracy. So, it hovered above Fang Shi's head and did not move. Fang Shi raised his head and looked at it. What are you standing there for? Chop it, chop me. Wu Yunjue now felt that there was something wrong with her and decided to continue observing. Fang Shi was confused by its outrageous actions. You just chased me like a mad dog, and you hit me with your hands. Now that I have stopped, you don't hit me anymore. What are you trying to do? She simply sat cross-legged on the ground, waiting to catch her breath before deciding whether to chop or not. At this time, Mu Jian and Kyongchi flew back after circling around. Both of them were stunned by the scene before them. They were only away for a short while, so how come the situation changed so drastically? The two of them sneaked up to Fangxi. The wooden sword was still normal, but Kyongchi shrunk his body countless times and finally became the size of a puppy. He was so shameless that he wagged his tail at Fangxi. Fangxi. In her impression, ferocious beasts are such powerful creatures, but Tao is a person with poor sense of direction and is a thing of the past. Tao turned into a pig, but still has no body. Now I have adopted a Kyongchi, but he is just a despicable idiot. I don't know what chaos is like before he shows his true colors, but I guess he's not very normal. While Fangxi was lost in thoughts, Wuyunjua's mind was also working rapidly. What on earth does this pervert want to do? At this time, Jiligi sneaked out from the Xiangyun hairpin and dotted Fangxi's head with green. Almost at the moment it appeared, the dark clouds in the sky trembled. Jilei suddenly felt very awesome. Although it can't speak, Fangxi can also feel that it is very proud. Fangxi was a little puzzled. Why was Wu Yunjiu shivering? Was he really afraid of the thunder? No. Its power is much stronger than the robbery thunder. Just as she was wondering, the dark cloud flew away without a trace of nostalgia. Fangxi, hey, I haven't advanced yet, don't leave. At least hit me a few times. Stop, you can leave after you chop me down. Just a few slaps will do for your sake. Wu Yunjua, stop right there. Ellipsis. Fangxi jumped onto the wooden sword, chase it. Mu Jian, okay. When Kyongchi saw Fangxi flying away on his sword, he quickly flapped his wings and chased after him. So, Jilei was in front, Fangxi tied to a wooden sword was in the middle, and a miniature version of Kyongchi followed behind. Jilei squatted on top of Fangxi's head, full of heroic spirit. Twisted the body into an arrow. Fengu, charge, charge. The whole sect is a dog licking, but the junior sister is a real dog. Chapter 1366, gold will shine sooner or later, and thunder will go crazy sooner or later. Jilei felt that ever since he was betrayed by Fango, he was like a tiger in a plane, being bullied by dogs, and anyone could step on him. Today it finally rose. Snort. Gold will shine sooner or later, and thunder will go crazy sooner or later. Go, 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 go. It wants to tear the dark cloud dove into pieces and let it fly away with the wind. Unfortunately, although the wooden sword was fast, it still couldn't catch up with Wuyunjua. Fangxi asked Zhu Xuan, Grandpa, why do you think Wuyunjua ran away? What's wrong with it? Zhu Xuan pondered for a while and said, maybe he's afraid of me. Fangxi. I don't need to ask. She waited there for a while, and when she saw that Wuyunjua hadn't come back, she began to tidy herself up. After finishing, he sat on Kyongchi's back and returned to Changsheng Sect. Although Kyongchi was very unhappy in his heart, it was a great shame and humiliation for a ferocious beast like him to be reduced to a mound. But he said, my dear master, I have always dreamed of serving you, and now my dream has come true. I am so honored. From now on, I will accompany you wherever you go. I will be your legs and wings in the future. My lifelong dream is to keep your feet off the ground and the soles of your boots spotless. Mu Jian cursed in his heart, this Kyongchi is so despicable. On the surface, he is showing loyalty to his unscrupulous master, but in reality he just wants to replace him. Mu Jian sensed a huge sense of crisis. Although he was afraid of the little black ball and the little fat bird before, he actually had some confidence in his situation. Because these pets are not on the same track as it. But now a Kyongchi appears. If one was a sword and the other was a ferocious beast, it would have thought they were twins. No wonder it went berserk twice before and subconsciously ran to the barrier to smite Kyongchi. It turned out to be revenge in advance. Although Kyongchi's speed is not as fast as the wooden sword, it is more stable. It is not only stable, but also provides emotional value. Fangxi was very satisfied. This is much more comfortable than tying herself. Soon, they arrived at the Changsheng Sect. Fangxi jumped off Kyongchi's back, put Kyongchi into the strip beast bag, and then walked towards the mountain gate. The gatekeeper disciple hurriedly saluted her. Fangxi just nodded and then entered the mountain gate. After she left, several gatekeeper disciples started discussing. Master Fang seems a little abnormal today. Normally, he would definitely chat with us for a few words. Why did he just nod and go in today? You don't know. I heard that the ferocious beast Kyongchi attracted the thunder from the sky, and Master Feng stepped forward for the sake of the overall situation and took the initiative to contract with Kyongchi to attract the thunder from the sky to himself. She left the sect on purpose because she was afraid that the thunder from heaven would destroy the protective formation of our Changsheng sect. She just got struck by lightning. She's lucky to be alive. How can she have the energy to talk to us? Ah, I said her peak master robe was new, but there was blood seeping out. It turns out she was struck by lightning. I guess he was afraid that we would worry, so he changed into a new robe. Master Fang is such a good person. Isn't it? I see her face is almost as pale as paper. She must be seriously injured. Ellipsis. Fangxi met many disciples along the way, and her righteous act soon spread throughout the sect. Rong Zheng, who had just been released, happened to hear someone chirping. Master Fang is so responsible. From now on, if anyone says anything bad about Master Fang, I will fight him. You said that Rong Zheng was also from Xuanshan sect. How come he is so different from Master Feng? Master Fang is not only capable, but also has a way of dealing with people that is impeccable. What's more, he can stand up at critical moments. What's so hard to understand about this? Even the 9 sons of a dragon are different from each other, let alone they're just senior brothers and sisters. I think Rong Zheng is nothing but a piece of shit when it comes to breaking the sect rules. If you say so, I won't argue with you. I think the other 4 brothers of Master Fang are all pretty good, especially Jun Wen. You can tell at a glance that he has an extraordinary family background and is very noble. Ellipsis. Rong Zheng's face turned purple with anger, just like an eggplant hit by frost. For a moment, he didn't know whether he was angry because of what these people said or because they were trying to pick a fight with him. Anyway, I feel like a failure. He felt a little confused, as if his life had lost its support and hope. He didn't know where to go next, nor did he know how to proceed. But he soon realized that they said that the junior sister was struck by lightning and the injury seemed quite serious, so he had to go and see it quickly. Thinking of this, he felt a little guilty. Ever since he came to Changsheng Sect, he seemed to have not helped his junior sister in any way, who had always been causing trouble for her. The more he thought about it, the more guilty he felt. He quickened his pace and ran towards Feng Shi's residence. But this time, Feng Shi had already returned to his own yard. She did not go looking for Ji Ting. Although she was struck by lightning for him, she could not repay the favor. She is a very particular person and would not do such a tasteless thing. As soon as Feng Shi entered the yard, he saw the old skeleton sneakily jumping from the fish pond and rushing into the house. Feng Shi. She felt that if this continued, the red smoke carp would probably hide in the underground river and never come out, or even turn into red dragons. But then I thought again, although the red dragon and the red smoke carp are the same body, in a sense they're two species. No matter how cowardly Qi Yanli is, he will probably endure it. When she thought about this, a flash of inspiration came to her mind, but it disappeared in a flash, and she can remember it when she thought about it again. She didn't have the energy to think about it carefully now, so she just let it go. After entering the house, she began to regulate her breathing and meditate. Although she was not struck by lightning, she was very tired from running around and shouting. Just after she had been meditating for a while, Zheng Wen and the others came and asked her about her well-being. As they were talking, Rong Zheng arrived. Jiang Ji was startled. "Third junior brother, why are you so thin?" Pei Zhou waved his fan. "Big brother, this isn't called being thin, this is called being reborn." Jiang Ji. Rong Zheng ignored them and looked at Feng Shi. Feng Shi was actually fine, but her face was extremely pale and she looked like she was dying. Rong Zheng already felt guilty, and now he blamed himself even more. "Junior sister, are you okay?" Feng Shi shook her head, struggled to stand up and saluted Rong Zheng. "Hello, third senior brother." After she finished speaking, her body began to stagger, and Zheng Wen hurried forward to support her. "Junior sister, how badly are you injured? And you still salute him?" Feng Shi said weakly. "Fifth senior brother, etiquette cannot be abolished. Third senior brother is now the chief disciple of the law enforcement hall, I can't embarrass him." These words are more painful than killing Rong Zheng. He said dejectedly, "Junior sister, I already know I was wrong, I shouldn't have gone astray, it's not that I attach so much importance to the sect rules, I just use the sect rules to cover up my inferiority complex. I am not worthy of being your senior brother, nor worthy of being your master's apprentice. I am just a useless person who has accomplished nothing." Feng Shi. Damn it, the medicine was too strong. It just collapsed. Next chapter around 7 o'clock. The whole sect is a dog licking, but the junior sister is a real dog. Chapter 1367 Rong Zheng has a new goal to strive for.